Hello, everybody. Got a couple of questions, just to make sure that the audio is fine with everyone. Is everyone hearing me really okay? Because of the Skype stream, I have to have a different setup than usual. So that means that I just make sure that everything's all right. It won't be the same audio. It will be less quality than usual. I just I had no choice with what I'm gonna do today. And okay, cool. Audio's good. Fine. I'm gonna see the screen over here. I've got this microphone set up for Skype because I wanted to have less feedback, and I wanted to make sure that everything's all right. So just to make sure that all is well, I'm going to I'm gonna do like something like this, and hopefully everything's gonna be okay. On this side of things, this is gonna be my microphone for Skype. Okay. So that's interesting because I'm trying to see here. If everything's all right. So why is the microphone not? This is weird. I got something. I'm just wondering here. Won't be long, guys, because I need to test something. So the audio is all right? Everybody's happy? Just make sure, because for some reason I don't see there's kind of a microphone that I normally see this thing move. Weird. How come it? Okay. As long as you hear me, I'm not going to play with the settings, and I'm going to be okay. So, hey, everybody, welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave Live Show, and I have been, in the past 90 minutes, trying to figure out a different way of kind of, having this set up. So I got a laptop here which has Skype, and I've got you guys, and so I'm hoping that, everything should be okay. The audio, I did a couple of tests with Sheldon. The audio was good. So let me just pour my beer because I need it right now. Nice to have everybody on board. This is the Shortwave Radio Show, and we are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. This is the show where we talk about radio, and it's the show where we're going to have a live Skype conversation with Sheldon in a few minutes on the white screen behind me. Maybe put this a little higher. Here we go. So audio is a little different, like I said, because it comes from it's the microphone's audio from the camera rather than this. So it's going to be different today, but hopefully everything's going to be all right. Nice to have everybody here. Of course, this is a show about radio, and we talk about shortwave and pretty much everything radio in general. But, shortwave and medium wave and stuff like that are things we talk about. And the beer just fell down, but it's empty. Of course, we are here to hopefully spark that interest in radio. That maybe it's that little thing that's been kind of in there and hidden, and basically you came back to the hobby. Maybe it's been a long time. You're watching this and you're like, you know what? I miss listening to the radio, and you want to start over again. You want to, find out, and you know what? Find that there's tons of people around here that are actually, but it's actually just there's still a bunch of guys and a bunch of people that are here that love the same thing that you do, which is radio. We've got special guests, of course, today, like I was saying. we'll have in a couple of minutes Sheldon from the Shortwave Fest in Pennsylvania. Yeah, he's on there, and I tried to work out something to be there. I couldn't, unfortunately, be there, which is sad because I really wanted, Take Two next year. We're gonna try to have that working next year, and hopefully everybody's gonna be, gonna have something. One of the things that I would really love to set up and try to work out for next year is to be there live and have a live show from the Shortwave Festival. I mean, it's what, 33 years, I think, this year. So, it's a big event. And, for any shortwave enthusiast, I think it's probably a must be. Well, everybody tells me you got to be at Shortwave Fest if you're a big fan of radio. So, and there's, all sorts of things. There's lectures, and one lecture that I would have loved to see is Janice that is going to talk about how it is to be a female in the radio hobby. I mean, it's a lot of a guy thing, actually. And so this is, something that we, of course, are going to be looking at for sure. That would be probably very interesting to hear the take of women in radio, amateur radio, and all of that. I mean, guy hobbies and women. It's always kind of interesting. And for some reason, technical hobbies very often are dominated by guys. And it's, I don't know, it's the way things are. I don't know if it's, lack of interest, or maybe, we're wired differently. We don't kind of, aren't that, maybe women don't like that type of thing. Maybe it's the guys that are kind of pushing the women away. Maybe they look at that and they're like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be with these guys doing that for sure, But we do have, quite a few women in the chat room that show up every week. And we have women in the hobby, and which is cool, honestly. It's something that we really need because, why have just a guy thing? Well, it's the other way around. There are some hobbies that are very dominated by women, and not a lot of guys go into that. And there's always that weird thing where you always have that person somewhere that that there's going to be that woman that's going to say, well, that's a guy thing, and there's going to be these hobbies that women have, and the guy's going to say, well, that's just for women. It's like, yeah, hobbies are hobbies, and I mean, come on, there's let's stop putting a gender on a hobby. It's kind of useless to do that, and let's just enjoy what we want. So we are going to, of course, talk about radio. We're going to try to tune the bands a little later. I've actually moved things around quite a lot. I hope everything still works. I know that I've disconnected my SDR play temporarily for the purpose of having my laptop in a different position, because I had two choices for the calls. I had the choice of having the call and he just sees a black screen and I only see him. But I thought that, the interaction is a little better if we can see each other. So if I'll see him, he's going to see me, because I wanted to make sure that the camera can actually, get that. So, hey, we're going to say a quick hello in the chat room while we wait for everything to happen. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here from Morgan City, Louisiana, USA. Matt in Denver, Colorado. John, nice to have you here from East Tennessee. Cyberflyer 1, nice to have you on board from England. Rusty, nice to have you here from Western North Carolina. David Silva, nice to have you here from Portugal. Stephen Connor, nice to have you on board. Gary Donnelly, nice to have you here. And he's representing the West Virginia chapter of CIDX, but he can't be at the fest. Liam, nice to have you here from the Irish Republic. Iman Cronin, nice to have you here from West Yorkshire in Ireland. Shortwave Packs, nice to have you here, my friend. Nick Avondale from Romania. WOHP Rec, nice to have you here. W8PRR in Western Ohio. Steve, Central England, nice to have you on board. Wendell Daniels, nice to have you from sunny tropical island of Bermuda. I guess the weather there is probably a lot better than we're having here in Montreal with cold and snow. Rob, nice to have you on board from a cool and dry Phoenix, Arizona. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. Always nice to have you here. What else do we have? Jerry DX, nice to have you here. Vince, bonjour Vince, bienvenue. Always nice to have you here. Steve Miller, nice to have you on board. Max Headstrong, nice to have you on board. Yeah, there's that will be because it's in my room here, so there will be a slight echo. That's something I'm going to fix actually when I actually do the setup again of the room here. I'm going to put some padding to remove the echo that can come from using an open microphone. Because right now, wherever in the room I am, you guys could hear me because this is kind of a surround microphone compared to this thing, which is very directional and prevents that kind of echo or reverb. Cyberflyer1, nice to have you here from England. India RC, nice to have you on board, my friend, from Cornwall, Southwest England. What else do we have? Clear and loud. That's the important thing. That is clear and loud. Do you have the laptop to the TV? I always have a laptop on the TV. This is I got a Toshiba on the TV, which is always the same laptop that has the SDR player SPDX. For sure. Sir Squally Wally, nice to have you on board from Illinois. And what else do we have? Catalan Alb, nice to have you on board. James Farley, nice to have you here from New Jersey. Jeff King, nice to have you on board from Jacksonville, Florida. Joe Rodman from the Chicago area. Kathy Atkins, nice to have you here. Jeff Williams from Southwest Cornwall. Larry from Georgia. Keegan in Northwest Arkansas, nice to have you here. Cecil Gregory, nice to have you here. We have, let's go down, Luis Carlos, nice to have you on board. Sheldon Harvey, hey, where are you from? In Winterfest, yes, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Going quickly here. We'll have time for questions and stuff after we have the meetup with Sheldon here. Anything else? What time do I have here? It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon here. Let's go down. Johnny Eric, nice to have you here. And Rodrigo Galter, nice to have you on board from Brazil on his XH Data D808. Cool. Vianney Arsenault, bonjour et bienvenue de la Gaspésie. Nice to have you here from eastern part of Quebec, VA2 VMA. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board. And nice to have you. Oh, it's Irene, Brian's wife. Cool. Oh, hello there. Nice to have you here. You lost your husband for the weekend. Nice to have you on board from Cape Cod. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. James de Calais, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. Nice to have you here. Gary Donnelly's KC8IQZ. And Matt says, funny thing, though, is that a lot of gender things come about from social conditioning. Oh, totally. Totally. I mean, it's driven our mind that some things are for girls and some things are for men. It's driven our minds from our young age. Because, I mean, if you look at children that you don't actually give them that minding, they will play and will not have that gender thing with anything. You know, we actually condition our children to have gender social media ways of doing things and gender hobbies. Because honestly, if you'd leave kids alone, that would not be. G. Lee, nice to have you here, G, from Central California, WA6102 SWL. Ahmud from Kuwait, nice to have you here. Brent in Brockville, Ontario, Canada. Nice to have you on board. And yes, it's going to be fun to connect with the Winterfest like last year. Tom D. Exter, nice to have you on board. Zan Novosel, nice to have you here from Croatia. 9 Alpha 3 ZAN. This is cool. This is cool. Croatia. We don't have Croatia very often in the chat room and in the live shows. Really nice to have all of you here. What else? What else? Kathleen, is there a way? We'll answer the questions. Any questions that you guys have, hold on to them. After we have the meetup with Sheldon and everything, the show will get back to its normal questions and answer thing, and we'll listen to the bands. And so, you know. Marv, nice to have you here from Marseille. And we got a call. Hello there. I'm hearing a buzz, and you're very weak in the background of that buzz. Maybe you can. Does the headset have microphone?
We're actually trying to go through a speaker so that people can hear you. But are you hearing me?
I'm hearing a big buzz and you inside that buzz, which is very difficult.
So hang on a second. I'm going to disconnect.
I'm hearing a big buzz and you inside that buzz, which is very difficult.
So hang on a second. I'm going to disconnect. Wow.
This is weird. You were fine 10 minutes ago, and now it's I really hear some buzz.
Okay, I'm going to turn this speaker on for a second.
It's interesting. This okay. Can you disconnect the headset and reconnect it just for the fun of it, just to see if it does anything?
I don't have the headset in right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm hearing you only through the speaker, which I'm trying to turn off, and it doesn't want to turn off.
It's some kind of like fan or motor running. It sounds like a car ignition.
Very weird. Why can't I turn this off? I'm going to disconnect from you for a second. Okay?
No problem. So we'll just retry again. We'll just retry again when we can. So it's weird. It's that it sounds like some kind of a buzz or some kind of really weird thing. It's almost as if there's like a fan running and it's creating. Oh, now it's clean. Sounds
now
like
it's clean.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was something with the speaker. Okay, I'm on the headset right now, but that means the people in there will not hear you. Something just came up there. Okay, but you're hearing me clear. You're seeing me.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Okay, so we're going to go in there. We may be able to set this up near the microphone to be able to pick up the audio off the computer.
Okay.
We'll give that a try and see what happens. Okay?
Perfect.
So we're going to go move. People will see us moving off to the conference room where Tom Witherspoon is giving a speech.
Okay.
A presentation. He is expecting us. So we are moving.
Perfect.
We are mobile.
We even have Paul the cat that just joined. He wants to see everything.
Paul the cat is looking. Okay, you're seeing the room. This is the exhibit room.
Okay.
We'll come back in here a bit later and show you. Okay, I am only seeing you. I am not seeing the Skype screen now. Correct?
No.
No. Okay, so I'm only seeing you. Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. Works great.
Right. So we're heading towards the chestnut room, and we will be entering momentarily.
I see Mickey.
And I see we have some visitors here in the room. Everybody want to say hi to Gino with the official SWL channel.
Okay, what we're going to try to do is, I'm listening to him on a headset right now. We're going to try and turn up the volume and see if we can get him through the PA system, okay? So just hang on here a second. Bear with us. We're sorry for interrupting what's going on here, but we just want to try and hook everybody up here. Just give me a second. Okay, Gilles, can you say something?
Hey, everybody. I hope you're having fun at the Shortwave Fest.
Oh, we are! Having a lot of fun.
Look like a bunch of happy people. I think, I'll have to make my way there next year for sure.
Please go.
Gilles, how many people are on your YouTube channel right now watching all of this?
So we're at 110 right now.
Woo!
And can you give people an idea? We were just listening to the check-ins. Can you tell our audience here some of where your audience is around the world?
So right now I said hello to people from Croatia, Brazil, France, the UK, of course, the United States. I'm in Canada. Bermuda? I think there's a guy from Bermuda. And I mean, we have people from all over the world watching. It's pretty amazing. And every week, I'm actually amazed at the amount of people checking in from all the countries around the world.
Well, that's great. We are, I guess we're about 100 people or so at the convention so far. This is the 33rd year of the Shortwave Listener Winterfest, and people from all over the place here. We want to introduce everyone to Thomas Witherspoon, who is we are interrupting his conference right now, unfortunately, but he was prepared for this. So here's Tom. Say hello to everybody, Tom.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Tom.
What are you presenting to this group?
We are talking about portable SDR DXing.
Let's turn it to the screen here.
Actually, I'll show you a picture of my setup. We were just talking about being on the coast of South Carolina, using a software-defined radio, a little passive loop antenna that I have here, and catching some medium wave DX with this.
Oh, this is so cool.
Fun.
Okay, so that's what's going on here right now. This is just one of many conferences we've had all weekend so far. Lots more to come.
Yep. And those that don't know about Thomas Witherspoon, he's the guy behind the SWLing.com website. That really, really amazing shortwavelistening.com website.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, it is. I can say honestly, it is probably the best resource on the internet for any radio fan out there.
All right, so we're going to give everybody one more final look out there, and everybody can wave to all of our listeners and viewers around the world. We want to thank Gilles for what he has been doing for our hobby. Since doing this channel, the number of people, and particularly the number of newbies, we have every week, I think, and Gilles will back this up, we have people checking into this YouTube channel who are you ready for this? They are asking for advice on buying their first radio. I mean, it's just amazing how this is bringing people together from so many parts of the world. We've had people on here from all over Russia and Syria. We had someone, I think, the other week on from Syria. Literally all over the world. There are people who get up in the middle of the night live around the world because they don't want to catch this later on the archive. They want to be part of it live. So it's really great. We thank Gilles for all he's doing. And Gilles, you can listen to him with us on the International Radio Report on Sundays as well. He's become a key part of that broadcast every week as well. So anything to say, Gilles, before we move on?
One of the things that I also find really cool is we, talk often about how our hobby, the average age is often kind of going up. And like many hobbies, it's not just a radio thing. It's a lot of hobbies around the world, unfortunately, and even, amateur radio. But what's fun here is I got some guys showing up and some girls, because we were talking about, like having a genderless hobby. And basically that are like 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, showing up and listening and being fascinated by shortwave for the first time, like probably a lot of us were when we started out.
Very good.
Sheldon, I want to put a challenge out there. After they get their driver's license, have them get their amateur license.
Very good. And one last thing, you're seeing another entity of this this broadcast on the screen right now. This is Paul the cat. And yes. Paul is a guest star every week on this. Well, he does this show twice a week, actually. And Paul has been called the DX cat and numerous other names.
Yes.
But Paul is always there and sort of in the background. And he's a cool cat.
Oh, absolutely. He wants to go SWLfest too.
Right. All right. We thank Tom for taking a few minutes break from your presentation.
My pleasure, and thank you, Gilles. Your channel is amazing. It really is.
I just changed color. I'm all red now on the screen.
And we are going to hog tie Gilles next year, and we are going to drag him down here because he needs to do one of these broadcasts from here.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys and gals, and we will talk to you guys later. We're going to go walk them around the room and show people what's going on out there. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Janice.
We'll see some more people here. There's John.
Hey, Eric. John.
Jill, there you go.
Hey, nice to see
Colton back.
nice to see everybody. It's really cool.
Hey, everybody.
Really a lot of fun to see everyone. Really, really a lot of fun. Portable SDR. That's a good idea.
Right battery, the right voltage of solar panel that you have, and keep in mind too, the sun charge controller is not all really effective. You try and charge it today when you're not. You'll be charging today anyway. But maybe charging during the day.
All right. So we're out in the luxurious lobby of the DoubleTree Hilton Hotel. So I'll give you a nice look at this. Is where we've been for many, many years for the convention.
Is it usually booked full for the Shortwave Fest in general?
It is. We do have a good block of rooms.
This is where you can get beers.
Yes.
He's trying to get me there with beers.
And there's looking up into the atrium that we have here. Really nice. For those that don't know, we're just outside of Philadelphia. We're in a place called Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. And we're going to head back into the exhibit hall and show you a couple things that are going on in there. We're heading over there.
Is your was it last night or is tonight your trivia show?
Trivia contest was last night. We had a new winner this year. Tracy Wood, who won it last year, was unable to defend his crown. And we have a new winner this year who was Dean Bianco, who's from upstate New York. And he came in first place this year.
Runner-up is right.
And the runner-up is our own John.
Oh, John!
In second place.
Congratulations, man!
Thank you. So they got the prize of the Shortwave beer, like you got behind you there.
Right. Yeah, and they'll be getting their major prizes at the banquet on Saturday night. And just for those who don't know, beside us here is Mickey Delmage. She's our CIDX Vice President from out in Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Alberta, who's joined us here for many years now.
Joins us regularly on the chat room.
Yeah, and this is our CIDX and my Radio HF setup that we have every year. You can see all the goodies that are available to people here. And so came in on Wednesday night. We've been here. We'll be leaving on Sunday morning to head back to Montreal. So that's our setup.
Cool.
And over here, this is kind of an interesting story. One of the gentlemen who was a stalwart at Winterfest over the years was a gentleman named Tony Pizzola. And sadly, just after Winterfest last year, he passed away. And you can see a tribute to him with lots of photos of him and family members and what have you. But he was an important part of the Winterfest every year. He's one of the hosts of our hospitality suite. And Tim Moody, who is his partner in crime in the hospitality suite, agreed to help out the family to take care of his radio equipment and redistribute it to people and what have you. So a number of his radios are here where people are bidding on them in sort of a silent auction.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
You can see some of his radios here. I'll just hold this down at level where, how's that? Good view, Joe?
Yeah, well, I see half of a radio.
Okay. How's this?
Yeah, we see him a little bit. This looks nice. Yeah, this looks nice. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
So this is a Grundig Classic radio. Then we have another Grundig beside that. He was a big fan of Grundigs and Zeniths. This one is called a Schaub Lorenz. I believe that's a German-made radio.
Looks nice.
And next to that, we have a Zenith portable AM/FM. It's a transoceanic model. We move over to a Sanjian radio. I forget the model on this one, but anyways, that's another one.
WR1.
WR1 is the model. Oh yeah, I see the book underneath it. Yeah. Next, we have a little Sony portable here. This is, Mick, can you see a model number on this?
We'll find eyes.
Yeah, our eyesight. We're old people, our eyesight.
I see a 6500W.
ICF 6500.
Okay.
No. Matter of fact, that I believe was one of the radios, that model that Bill Westenhaver used to use.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so. Next, we have an Eton radio.
Yeah.
The EIXM.
Yeah, E1.
E1XM. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the big one on the table. I got to back up a bit for this one, I think.
Yeah, that's
Got
big.
it? Yeah, this is the Grundig Satellite 2400.
Wow.
So now these are only a small part of the radios that Tony had in his collection, and they have redistributed and sold a lot of his equipment. But these are some of the remaining models, so people will be bidding on these throughout the weekend, and the highest bidder gets to take them home with them. And his last radio that is getting into new technology. This is a Sirius satellite radio that he had that we're trying to find a new home for as well. So that's Tony's collection is out there. Now we're going to come over and visit. You'll see a sign on the front of this table. Which
That's
is NASWA, which is the North American Shortwave Association. And the gentleman behind the table, controlling things, is Mr. Ed Mauger. Hi, Ed. You are on Jill's official SWL YouTube channel, which is broadcasting live around the world right now.
Should I be nervous?
No, you should just say
No.
hello to everyone.
Hey.
And tell us a little bit about NASWA.
We used to be called NASA in the very, very early years. Some else wanted to use the acronym. We're an international shortwave club. We put out a bulletin every month, have for many years.
Right. And it's now available electronically as well. Yeah, there's a little notice there about it. And we're hoping that some new members come along from the weekend here to this weekend. So yeah, Ed, you're involved. You have not missed the Winterfest, is that correct?
I have not.
33 years.
33 years.
Amazing.
That's dedication.
It is.
Yeah, I would note that the very first one, I did not stay at the motel. I commuted.
You were very close. You're still fairly close, yeah. So, but yeah, putting in yeoman duty here every year we see Ed, and Ed helps to make this thing happen too every year with lots of assistance to the two organizers.
You know, years ago, I used to have to do more. I used to have arrange tables and that kind of thing.
Right.
Tracy Wood, I don't know if you mentioned him.
Not so far today, no.
He's our satellite TV guy. I used to haul his antennas up onto the roof at the other venue.
Right.
By rope,
Yeah.
by hand, and lower them down again afterwards
Right.
on Sunday morning.
Right.
We put up a long wire antenna on the roof those days. Don't do that here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow us.
They won't let us. Right. Right. So we find other ways, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great.
We adapt.
We adapt. We have to do that. Anyways, we thank you for popping in, saying hello.
Thank
to
you so
everybody.
much.
How many viewers around the world do we have right now, Joe?
We're at 121.
121 people from literally around the world are watching this live right now. So
11 square.
amazing. All right. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you very much.
Later.
All right. Next, we're going to move over to this is a regular visitor to the Winterfest every year. It is the Japanese Shortwave Club. They produce, they've been around since 1952. You can see their table is here. Their representatives are probably in the conference next door. But they produce the Japan DX report, Sundays over Wavescan, which some of your listeners viewers will know about.
Yes, I
All the
hear that all the time.
QSL cards that they had offered over the years.
Yep.
For your reports to the Wavescan report on.
Yes, because people don't know. A lot of people don't know that. But if you actually submit a reception report, they do have their own QSL card.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to move in a little closer. You can actually see some of these up close. They're pretty fancy. They design new ones every year.
Cool.
They're very nice. And so they send representatives every year. They have a bulletin that they produce, the Shortwave DX Guide. You'll see some copies on the table here. Nikki's playing Vanna White, by the way, pull the kids up and whatever.
You get more viewers with Janice doing this.
Yeah, we should have got Janice to do this.
Yeah.
And next to this, of course, they're Kim Andrew Elliott, Dr. Kim Andrew Elliott, formerly of Voice of America. Some of you know the shortwave radiogram that he puts out on the air. He is here somewhere. He's in that conference probably right now. But he comes in here every year to talk about what he's up to. He is actually going to be our keynote banquet speaker this year on Saturday evening. So we'll see if we can round him up anywhere in a bit. What else we got here? Oh, look who's over at the door here. I saw your name show from Cape Cod, but you're not in Cape Cod.
Yeah, somebody is using your identity.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, Brian.
You can say hello to Irene too. Is she watching?
Yes,
Oh,
she's watching.
See, he really is at the Winterfest. He didn't have. So yes, very good. Brian is from Cape Cod, and you see his name pop checking into the channel here every week, usually. So, how's things going for the fest? Enjoying yourself?
Yeah, making all the forums.
Right.
Always informative.
We will be heading out to an annual dinner tonight.
Shall again.
Yes.
Part of the experience here, Gilles, is not only radio, but culinary in nature.
Cool.
We've already experienced Indian food, Korean, Iranian,
Right.
Vietnamese,
Yeah.
Persian, who knows?
Yeah. And I believe you'll be excited to know that there will be probably some adult beverages involved later today. So.
Everybody wants me there.
Right.
You know,
Next year,
when Shell doesn't show up, everybody's like, we have beer here too.
We have gentlemen sitting down at the table here that some viewers might like to meet. Mr. Alan Ludell, where you are live on Jill's YouTube channel.
Very cool.
Very cool. Say hello to everybody. We have over 100 viewers right now live around the world. And Alan, you work in the radio business.
Yeah, I do for the news talk radio station in Wilmington, Delaware, WDEL.
Okay. And you are a huge QSL collector.
Yes, I am.
How many years have you been doing this?
1966 when I was 11.
When you were 11, my
Wow.
goodness. You know how many you have?
Well, a lot of them I'll do, the same station to
Right.
buy new cards, but
Right.
I have about 35 albums of cards, and another 15 albums of letters.
Amazing.
Oh, man.
Amazing. And you do all types of broadcasts? Or?
AM, FM, shortwave, TV, and even internet broadcasts.
Amazing. Great
Still do
stuff.
some AM, FM today?
I'm sorry?
Do you still do some AM, FM QSL
Yes, I
today?
I haven't done the DX Expedition in a number of years, but I'll just go ahead and even on a car radio, FM propagation, when it wants to come in, it's even come in on a simple radio. So, I mean, here in Delaware, I picked up this ordinary car radio, Western Kansas, Nebraska, going into Colorado.
Right.
That's almost better than some AM reception these days, unless you have a long beverage antenna or that sort of thing. So,
Are you still super active in QSLing right now?
yeah, I am.
Cool.
Yeah, and I still like getting stuff in the mail rather than email. And the best way to do that, I found, is to listen to some little itty bitty FM domestic stations actually on the internet, live streaming. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to QSL a broadcast station from Ulan or the Isle of Man or the Orkney Islands or Liechtenstein or some of the former Yugoslav republics any other way. So
Wow.
it has added the appreciation of the hobby. And since I am in broadcast radio, although I appreciate the sound of DX, it is interesting to be able to listen with a full fidelity, and I can guess songs and all. And you learn more about the world. For example, the composition of Western content, British or American songs versus other songs, as you work your way through Europe into Asia, even on the rock stations. So you learn a little bit about that as you get into some of the nations that use the Cyrillic alphabet as opposed to our Western alphabet, even though they're all Slavic nations. You note the distinction.
Yeah. So I think that's an important thing that us as shortwave listeners and DXers, we learn an awful lot about the world around us that maybe, the average person out there on the street doesn't know. So,
yeah. Well, I would say, and I really regret young people, but when we were growing up, shortwave radio, I mean, even other kids in the neighborhood, it wasn't an odd activity. It was common, and stamps and coins and all that, geography, history, all that knowledge, and frankly, it helped me with my career.
Right.
So
yeah. Very good.
So all our viewers and listeners around the world, we're a global family, and we'll learn more about one another through this wonderful hobby.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Alan. Good to see you again this year, and you got a whole new audience in front of you here today. So.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, unfortunately, let's see. We got somebody's playing with a radio over here. Let's go see what's happening here. Alan.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm another Alan.
Another Alan. Say hello to the worldwide audience on Gilles' official SWL YouTube channel.
Well, hello there.
Hello there.
My name is Alan Byroad from Virginia, and I'm here at the fest having a good time.
And what are you playing with?
I'm playing with this big Grundig. It's a satellite 2400
Right.
by Grundig.
We're going to turn this so that everybody gets a good look at it. You seen that well, Jill?
Oh, yeah, it's very beautiful.
Pretty impressive, eh? I'm hearing applause coming from the next room, so we may be getting some more people coming out into this room shortly. So, Alan, you've been to Winterfest how many times?
Probably about 10 times.
Okay, good.
I didn't make it last year, but I've come almost every other year in the last 10 years or so.
Excellent. We need more people to come too. So Gilles got a whole big audience out there, a lot of newbies and people just getting into this activity. So we invite them to come in the years ahead, and we thought by giving them a taste of it here today, we might be able to attract some of them. So
Well, that's great.
Yep. Thanks for giving us a few words. Say hello to everybody out there worldwide.
Hello there.
Thanks, Alan.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
All right.
Have fun.
And over in the corner, Alan Roberts is down there in the corner. Say hello to
Hello,
everybody
Alan.
on Bill's channel.
Hello, everybody on Gilles' channel.
Alan, you've maybe heard on International Radio Report once in a while, and he's in the Montreal area and has been a CIDX member a long time radio listener, and loves to build antennas too in his past. He's got some
That's
really
nice.
interesting, he's done some, you talk about long wave and that people ask you long wave questions.
Yeah.
Over the years, Alan's done a lot of long wave logging as well. So, and it is possible to do it from a residential area if you do it the right way. So.
Well, that's cool. Nice to see you, Alan.
Nice to see you.
All right, let's see what else we can find for you here. There are some people. Oh, there's a few people starting to wander in here. Say hello to the worldwide audience again.
The worldwide audience.
Yes, this is Eric. Welcome. You're being seen by viewers around the world on the Shields channel.
I actually started the Shields channel. I
There you go.
gave advice on my first radio and
Oh, wow.
antennas. I never contacted you, but I must have watched about 50 or 60 of your videos. So it's
Wow.
very helpful.
Cool.
A real fan.
Yeah, I'll just see you next year. We'll be waiting for you here next year.
They are watching.
I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it.
You're gonna make it.
All
Very
right,
good.
I'll hold you to that.
All right. And other people are wandering in, so we'll catch a few people coming. Hey, Tracy Wood.
Right.
Say hello to the worldwide
Hi,
audience.
worldwide audience. I'm going to talk here about Radio Andorra and visiting the EDXC conference. Andorra was a fascinating radio country. The Radio Andorra facility is being turned into a meeting conference center, but the old transmitters from the 60s and the 40s are still there. And hopefully it'll be a full radio museum, at least part of it at some point in the future.
That must be amazing to visit.
All the people out there in radio.
I understand you do have another alter ego though, and somebody famous involved in radio. Maybe you could call him up and say a few words.
Let's see.
Hang on, we're gonna try and get hold of somebody important.
Actually, I have to put the radio to my head. Ah, there it is.
Okay.
Hello, dear listener friends. This is Carney Oro CO2, you know what, from you know where. Just saying hello to all my dear listener friends. And don't forget to listen to my non-copyrighted, trademarked radio propagation forecast. Thank you.
Yes, there you have it. We'll let you figure out who that's supposed to be. Thanks, Tracy. If you've listened to a certain island nation in the Caribbean,
Yes.
you recognize that person's voice. Very good. So let's take a look outside here and see who's around, and we'll see if we can find you a few more. Oh, there's people coming out of the conference room here. I guess they're still asking Tom a lot of questions. And Nisar.
Oh yeah.
Talk to Joe.
Hey, hello there.
Hi Jim, how are you?
Pretty good. Nice to see you.
I do listen to your shortwave on Friday afternoon. Now that I'm retired, I have all the time in the world, and I do tune into your YouTube channel, and it's interesting. And sometimes I'm amazed how you spend hours and hours and hours. That's it's amazing what you do over there.
And I'm happy to do it, and I'm here for that. And when somebody tells me I watch your show and everything you do is amazing, well, it just makes me want to go on and continue.
And I actually also review your radio reviews on your, on YouTube, and you have done some wonderful reviews. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of Texan radios. I bought a lot of Texan radios, and my favorite analog Texan is Texan R9700DX. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yes, I am. I don't own one, but I hear a lot of good things about it.
It's a build quality is excellent, and I would highly recommend to other viewers who are watching this that that's a very good analog radio. Not too many people make analog radio these days. So
No, absolutely, and good analog radios are hard to find.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you
All right.
very much.
Richard. Yes. Hang on, we have one of the organizers of the Winterfest here. Say hello to Jill in the YouTube channel.
Jill,
Hey, Richard.
How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Nice to see you.
Excellent.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed your virtual tour of the SWLfest and the cast of characters we have here.
Absolutely.
You really, Sheldon does need to bind you and gag you and bring you down.
We'll never be able to gag him, that's for sure.
One of the things that, while the miracles of technology and the fact you are simultaneously able to bring people together from all over the world, there's still something to be said for doing this stuff face to face.
No, absolutely. It's a very different experience, that's for sure.
And you see the wheels turning of some of the people when they see a presentation where you get two of these guys together that have each had their own area of specialization in the hobby, And there's just neat stuff in terms of what people figure out and some of the ideas that come out of the fest and stuff like that. And we sure do hope that you're able to join us one of these years really, really soon down here. It's, we've mismanaged, John and I have mismanaged this. This is the from 20 to, when we started? We started in 2000, so this is the 21st that we've mismanaged out of the total 33. But we couldn't have done with the support of folks like Sheldon, who have helped just popularize and propagandize, promote. Sheldon's just such a great idea person as well. So there's just skills all over the place that help to make this event possible. And we appreciate the effort that you've gone into doing what you do. And of course to Monsieur Harvey for everything he does as well. So
For some reason, they always want to speak to us in a French accent.
but it's hard. We can flag you for going out and about, all the time.
Out and about, yes.
So,
sorry, Gillies.
Gillies.
Most people have got Jill down pretty good today. We've been teaching them how to pronounce your name.
Right, we've had lessons. So
Yes, exactly.
I will leave you to Sheldon to continue the tour and whatnot there. So, anyway, great to meet you, and we hope to see you soon.
Nice to meet you, Richard, and I hope to meet you maybe next year. We're really going to work hard to be there.
Excellent. A bientôt.
Wow.
That's nice.
Good. We're going to poke inside the room here again. There's still some people around here. And let's see if we can find somebody that might be interesting for you guys to... saying, let's move over here.
Thanks for what you're doing, Sheldon. It's really nice to have this tour
Yeah,
and have
say
all
hello
of
to
these people.
everybody. Greetings. This is Ed Cummings.
Hello. Hello.
We're going to, I got to join the YouTube group. I haven't been on it before, but now I'll join it.
Cool. We'll be happy to have you.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. So we have viewers still. What number are we at now, Joe?
127.
127
That's
viewers
amazing.
from around the world.
Congratulations. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Very good. Oh, here's somebody you know. Eric.
Hi,
Hey, Eric. How are you?
Jill.
He's got it.
Yes. It took me months to,
You got to come back next Christmas dinner so I can bring you the tortilla de lac Saint-Jean.
It depends on the weather. I lucked out last December. It just snowed a little bit.
Right.
But you're getting some snow recently.
Yep.
We're not getting too much snow at all.
It's a little chilly down here, but that's
A
about
little
it.
chilly down.
Well, it could be worse. It could be like that here when you guys didn't have electricity and it was like all,
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
And it'd be great if you can come down next year.
I'll do my best to do so.
I'll see you at the barbecue then.
Yes, absolutely. Always a pleasure
All
to
right.
meet you, Eric.
Yeah, we of course the barbecue comes up every summer in Montreal area.
Yep.
But, let's see here, Saul. Let's say hello to a few people on YouTube on Gilles' channel.
Okay, well,
This is Saul Brody.
hi, Gilles.
That's all.
I'm a fairly frequent listener. I'm glad to meet you like this.
Well, it's nice to meet you too. It's nice to put a face also. We always have these people around, but when you see someone, it's like, oh, it's always nice.
Well, I hope you make it down here next year. I'm lucky. I live in Philadelphia, so I'm close by.
Oh,
and I
that's
can
nice.
commute every day. And yes, I'm a ham. These days, I don't do that much shortwave listening. But I'm W3 WHK, and I spend a lot of time operating CW on the high frequency band.
Aha, CW. That's something interesting.
Very good.
Very good.
Thanks.
You.
Thanks so much, Saul.
Everybody.
Saul is also a very accomplished musician.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Talk about that.
In fact, I came, as I was telling Mickey and Sheldon, I was up there a couple of years ago for the 50th anniversary of the Yellow Door Coffee House
In
near
Montreal.
the Guild campus. So
Oh,
I
wow.
went for that and sang with everybody from the old days.
Oh, cool.
I'm an old fart.
But you're not allowed to sing on the channel though, because you'll get copyright.
Copyright infringement.
Yeah, that you can do. All right. Take care.
Take care.
All right. Oh, let's talk to this gentleman right here, Mark.
Hey,
say hello
Hey,
to
Mark.
the world. Hey, how are you?
Hey, Mark.
I have watched your chat. I have watched you on YouTube, but I've never watched you live. I've only ever watched the delayed.
Well, this is Mark Fahey, and your hometown is where?
My hometown is Sydney, Australia, but I live in both Indonesia and Australia. I put between them.
Oh, wow. Nice to meet you.
He has done some amazing travels and given us some amazing presentations. 1, 2. You're doing 2 this year.
I'm doing 3 actually.
Oh, 3?
This year. So I've done 1. I've got 2 more to go tomorrow.
Okay, and the one this morning was.
What are the subjects? What are the subjects?
What's on North Korean sanctions, how they avoid sanctions, and with a bit of radio to make it presentable for a radio conference.
Right. Okay.
And tomorrow is part B of that presentation.
Right.
And I also own and operate 3 radio stations in Indonesia, so we're talking about that.
Very good. Sounds like it'll be great. Everybody's been enjoying it so far, so
indeed,
looking forward to the rest of it.
Whoa. Yeah,
Whoa.
This is great.
Yeah. All right.
Nice to meet you.
Where's the cat?
Where's the cat? He wants the cat.
Oh, where's the cat? Oh, he's not here. He's not here, unfortunately.
I'll watch this on archive, but I'll.
That's right.
He was here at the beginning.
He was there, yeah. All right. Let's. I think we should try to get our. Let's talk to Donna. Donna, would you like to talk to the worldwide audience on Jill's YouTube channel?
I don't know.
He's on here, and they're live, and they have viewers.
Hey, Donna.
All you need to do is talk to them, and they will be hearing you.
Where?
Just speak to me, and you're
Right
speaking
now?
to him. He's live watching you.
Yeah.
I just want people to know this is not just a man-only hobby. That I've been a SWLer since I was about 12 years old in front of my father's holocrafter. And I've had a lot of portables and a lot of receivers that connected to antennas on my roof and everything else over the years. Now I'm doing internet. The hobby has really, really expanded because as far as I'm concerned, it's radio that is king, radio that is cool, and it doesn't matter what kind. Listen to the world and learn from everyone around you all over the world so that you can broaden your mind and speak to your heart.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Great statement about what we do.
Absolutely.
So thanks, Donna.
Thank you.
Where are you from for everybody that's listening?
Well, I grew up in Michigan. I lived for a short time in California, and then I lived 16 years in New Jersey, and now I've been living about 20 years in Maryland.
Excellent.
So I love being in new places, meeting new people, and the hobby again gives me another way to do that. So please join us and keep this alive because it's a wonderful hobby, and have some fun.
Well, you've just introduced yourself to
Cool.
over 100 people from literally around the world right now.
135.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Donna.
Sure.
We're going to go to I mentioned the winner of the, well, look at this device here while I'm going by. This is the next conference coming up, but look at this thing.
Oh,
Oh, we have some loop antennas. Jeff
There's
is the
some
master
loops.
of the loop antennas. So he's going to be doing a presentation shortly on his
master of the loops. I like that.
master of the loop. Say hello to everyone, Jeff.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hey. Going well, and it's always fun to see people like you that are engaged and really, really showing the world what we can do.
What we can do, yes.
Yes.
We can put up peace signs and call them antennas and hope Homeland Security doesn't notice we have them.
Excellent. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Let's drag Dean out to the hallway here for a second because we mentioned the contest last night and the trivia contest, and the winner of that contest is Dean Bianco. Let's. My arm's getting tired. I'm going to rest this down here. We'll get Dean in front here.
Hey, Dean. Hello there, Dean.
Dean Bianco, and he succeeded in becoming this year's champion of the Winterfest trivia contest.
Wow. You got to have experience of listened and watched so much to be winning a contest like that, pretty sure.
And also have led a very sheltered life.
But one that was dedicated in front of the radio is not a wasted life.
No, absolutely not.
I wanted to say how impressed I was, Jill, about the people, younger people who are becoming interested in our hobby, and the fact that you have that feedback. That's very encouraging.
Absolutely. When we need that, and we need more of that. And I think YouTube has that really nice way of bringing that, because the audience on YouTube, on average, is very young. And I mean, when I started a shortwave channel, it was like, yeah, this is kind of for older audience. But you know what? You get all of these young guys and girls coming over, and just, some of them probably just by accident seeing a video or a live feed, and they're like, wow, this looks cool. And I've got a good amount of below 30, and even some below, and some teenagers actually listening in and starting the hobby for the first time.
I have a theory that we have so much of today's technology that it's so instantaneous, and maybe perhaps I'd like to think that people want to discover an older technology, or as the younger people would say, things that are retro. Sometimes that's a faddish thing, depending on what the subject matter is, that are retro. However, that may work to the advantage of people want to discover something the way things were done a long time ago, and there may be the cool factor. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'd like to think that.
There's that, and you know what? I think one of the interesting aspects of this is also, we all went in that way. I mean, as a teenager, when I started, I was put radio in front of me, and I did not know anything about shortwave. And, when you can actually broadcast to an audience, well, a lot of the younger generation, it's not just older technology. It's, for some of them, it's probably, well, oh, wow, I didn't know this actually existed. That also is something that is appealing for some.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, Dean is going to be presented with the first place prize tomorrow night at our banquet here at the which wraps up the event. There's also a huge prize pool of other prizes that are given away in our annual raffle here. So everybody's hoping to walk home with some kind of prize tomorrow night. We will recognize Dean's championship.
Oh yeah, we've got to say congratulations to Dean, because I mean, winning that is fantastic.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll be back next year to defend his title. So, we got some more people here. Hang on a second.
Maybe I'll be
Larry Will and
hey Larry.
Come on in. Say hello to Jill. Look what we got. What's he got? It's the new Pirate Radio Handbook. Annual.
Andy's annual is finally out.
All right.
That's right.
Very good.
Last year's was delayed to this year.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Yep.
And it comes with a nice hat, nice CD too.
Oh, very nice. So Tony Strike in the back there, and Jane is here with us as well. So
Who is that?
This is Gilles Letourneau, official SWL channel from Montreal.
Oh, okay.
144.
Viewers right now from literally all over the world. 144
right now.
144 people watching worldwide.
Awesome.
Where's Paul?
Paul is, he was here at the beginning of the show. Unfortunately, he moved off. But I know everybody wants to see Paul. Maybe I should just put Paul on and go somewhere else. I don't know.
Let's give Paul his own show, that's all.
Yeah.
Shortwave listeners love cats. That's
Right.
their mascots.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, so
it's nice to meet you guys, by the way.
Well, before I bow out, Jill, this is Dean again, and I wanted to say that your channel is very, very enjoyable, and I always check in. What do you think?
Thanks so much. And you know what, Dean?
Keep up that good work.
If I'm there next year, you'll have some challenge and some knowledge for the trivia contest.
Jill will come into the contest. It should do quite well.
And you are coming next year, Jill. I don't think that's that's an option. I think I had somebody here say they're going to bring you kicking and screaming if you don't.
I do have a roof rack on the car, so I think we could strap him to that roof rack, and
so you can enjoy the trip al fresco.
I'll from the roof on the way down. So.
I'll be in some car's trunk tied up.
All right, Thanks, everyone.
Take
Say
care.
goodbye to everyone.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Video on here.
Yeah.
Bye, Jill.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so, oh, is John in there? Okay, we're gonna find our other organizer of the Winter Fest.
Cool.
John Filiosi. Yes, I see him. And Rich D'Angelo is with him. Richard Cuff is there. We need you to say a few words to Gilles here. Come on out. My arm's getting tired, so I'm gonna set you up here. Yeah. Okay, here's John Filiosi, the other one of the dynamic duo who organizes this event every year.
Hi, Jill.
Hello, John. And I actually,
nice to finally meet you.
it's nice to meet you. And I actually purchased so many of your publications over the years.
Wow, that's very nice to hear. Thank you very much.
Get one.
This is a great thing you're doing here.
Well, you know, it's here to help out and have everybody have fun, like you are dedicated to the hobby also, and helping others.
Yeah, it's just a place where people can come and sit down and talk radio and not have to explain to somebody ahead of time what the hell it is they're doing.
Yeah. And so
John is the author of the Worldwide Listening Guide.
Yes.
And we have a copy of it here, the brand new one.
Here's my agent, Sheldon.
Yes, I'm a sales agent.
And if anybody would want to have a copy of that book, where would they go to on the web to purchase
They
one?
would have to come to the winter. No, they wouldn't have to come to the winter. They could go to universal-radio.com.
Yeah.
They could go to Amazon.
Okay.
They can go to hamradio.com. It's Ham Radio Outlet, I think it's hamradio.com.
HRO.
Yeah, HRO. Yeah.
Yes.
Those are the three main vendors for the book.
Okay. And this is a hard copy. Well, it's a book made out of paper. And not
made out of paper with a spiral binding, so it lays flat on a table, which is one of our selling points, I guess. And yeah, it's not available electronically.
Okay. Well, it's fun to have a book, a real book. You know, I'm an all electronic and very technical guy, but I like to have a real book.
Yeah, obviously me too.
So, what are the highlights of the book? What do you have in the book that people would be happy to have one copy of it, because I know it's full of interesting information.
Sure. Well, radio, I mean, as you know, radio is now taking a lot of different forms. It's a multi-dimensional platform. And it's not just an electronic device that pulls audio out of the air and plays it through a speaker now. You've got, obviously this device that we're using now, you've got satellite radio, you've got certainly your cell phone.
Yeah.
Which is now what take the place of, at least when I was a kid, was that little shirt pocket radio that you carried around with you all the time, so that you could hear all the time the next Beatles record was coming out. And and that's the book's approach. The book's approach is to look at radio in this multidimensional way, it's very content driven in the sense that if you're looking at particular programs, there's a number of ways you can get them.
Okay.
Obviously, the two most recent advances, if you want to call it that, are podcasts, which is almost a platform on its own right now.
Yep.
At one time, it was really dependent on radio, but it's not really anymore. It's a platform all its own. And that new little device that sits in your kitchen and listens to everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Or some people think that's what's going on. I don't know if that's true. But that little device, a lot of people are using that as their kitchen radio.
Absolutely. Actually, I do. I have one from, I've got a Google Home, and I got to tell you, it's replaced my radio. It's actually, I ask it to stream stuff that I want to listen to. I even ask it to stream World of Radio by Glenn Hauser, so, it tells you where it goes.
And it knows what that is.
It knows what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, you just can't, be careful not to say either of its names,
No, that's why I was careful.
Yeah, so what's it like in Montreal today?
It's kind of cold, and we had a mix of rain and snow, which is turned into some kind of ice. So I like to say that I have got some ice loops rather than regular loop antennas outside right now.
Oh, God, no, it's, well, it's that time of the year, right?
Yeah. And so how have you become part of the Shortwave Fest and decided to?
That's a long history. I'll have to really condense it. Of course, the Shortwave Listeners Fest goes all the way back 33 years now. And there were a gang of three, Bob Brown, Chris Field, and Harold Combs, who conceived of this idea of just having a place to get together with other like-minded people and just sit and talk about radio in a relaxed atmosphere. And over the years, it has grown. Rich Cuff and I first got involved as hospitality coordinators, making sure that the drinks were there, the beer was there, the little snacks were there, and sort of serve as a host in the hospitality room. And along around the year 2000, those three guys decided, okay, it's time to pass the torch. We were either very drunk that night or somehow otherwise out of our minds. We actually volunteered to come in and do it, and we've been doing it since then. But the pattern has been the same for 33 years. It's basically been a lot of free time to sit around and talk. There's the sessions that people can look for themselves on SWLfest.com and see what the sessions are this year. It's gone from the time 33 years ago, it was exclusively shortwave because that's the only thing that we had. And now it's morphed into a much more, as I said, I guess I'm using that word a lot, but multi-dimensional platform.
Yeah.
Radio in all different kinds of ways.
Oh, cool. This is really, really cool. And in your times, you still do a lot of listening when you have some time on your hands?
I do, yes. There's usually a radio of some form or other, sometimes to the annoyance of my wife, playing, wherever I happen to be. Okay. It just seems that's my constant companion, I suppose, whether it's in the car, it's, going to sleep at night, sitting out reading a book somewhere, on the porch or something. Usually there's a radio playing.
I think it's a natural thing for us guys. It's like, okay, what am I going to do now? Well, let's just pick up a radio and listen.
It's like breathing. It's like breathing.
Yes.
It's like half your breathing apparatus is not working. You can have a radio on.
Absolutely.
Jill, we should mention too that John is the editor of the Plodding Along column in CIDX.
That's true. Well, absolutely.
People a whole slew of podcasts that they might want to go and listen to as well. So you do a lot of that when you're
trying to exercise, trying to lose a little weight.
That's why the camera's up here and not down.
That's right. we keep it up here. I said, just as long as the camera stays up there, we're good. But yeah. I mean, that kind of goes along with what we were just talking about. I mean, even when I'm out, doing what's commonly called power walking, I've got podcasting in my ears because I find the whole idea of exercising pretty boring. So
yeah,
it kind of but a positive way of looking at it, you're exercising your mind while you're trying to exercise your body. So it's a very fun. So yeah, exactly. I kind of post those to a number of different boards, and then we compile them on a monthly basis and put them in the CIDX Messenger.
Cool. Well, it's really nice to see it, and I actually look at that all the time because I think there's I will say I like your word. I'm a multi-dimensional listener, so I do listen from different ways, and it's fun to have something like that also. So thank you very much for everything you do, by the way.
Well, I think it's a multi-dimensional platform. It's also a multi-dimensional contributory aspect to all of this. I mean, we all try to do what we can to try to interest ourselves as well as to make it interesting to others. And to try to share what the joy that this has given us over our lives. We certainly, I can't imagine my life without radio.
Oh, same here. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thanks very much, guys.
All right,
keep going.
Well, we keep this going too. John's and Richard, as he said, have been at it for a long time, and it wouldn't be happening without them. So we're really happy that they continue the tradition for now 33 years, believe it or not. I've been to. This was my 31st Winterfest, so I've only missed two.
Missed two. That's incredible.
And we travel 9 hours on the road to get here every year. So and sometimes through good weather, and sometimes we've gone through bad weather too. So it's well worth the trip, though. So we're really happy about that. Anyways, we have dominated your show today, and we thank you and all your. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of messages that you haven't got to, but we do want to say hello to everybody, and we want to invite you people next year. We'll have dates for you, hopefully, in the next few days for next year. And we'd like to see some more new people here and come and meet some of these people. We give you a little taste of what goes on in that conference room, and there's a whole lot more interesting stuff there.
You're only an hour behind in the chat room.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. But I want to thank you, Sheldon, and you guys for also making this possible.
Yeah.
And of course, I already feel the pressure of having to be there next year, so I really want to
keep our microphones warm on Sunday morning over at the CKUT.
No problem. I think I can fill up 30 minutes with radio stuff.
Well, I would hope so. Just maybe, I think you will. And, we'll be able, people who missed this today or people who want to go back and take a look, of course, we'll have the YouTube channel. We'll archive it. And,
absolutely.
I can check it out. So, all right. Thanks. Have a great day up there, guys, everybody on the channel. And thanks for putting up with us all today. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll turn you back over to Shil.
So thanks, Sheldon, for making this possible, and see you soon.
All right. Take care. Say goodbye, Mick.
Take care.
Say goodbye.
Hey, Mick.
Take care, guys.
Bye there.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.
And here we go. That was fun. And, okay. I'm a little, I need a new beer now. I'm going to have a beer. We're going to continue the show. Hope everybody enjoyed this look into the Shortwave Fest down in Pennsylvania. And sorry, it's not the top quality that I want, but next year is going to be different. Actually, next year, maybe I'm going to be there. Maybe next year I'll be live from Shortwave Fest. But and that's one of the things I hope. And of course, once again, I want to thank Sheldon for making this possible, because without Sheldon, we would not have all of this. I'm always impressed to see that so many people are watching my YouTube channel and my radio stuff. And I mean, it's really, really an honor to have all of that. So I will, yeah, that would be nice, Gary. We both make it next year. Let's try to make it an official deal that next year we'll both be there, and hopefully some of you and a lot of you will be there for sure. Yeah, I've got to thank Mickey Delmich also, and it's really a lot of fun to see all of this happening. Thanks, everybody. So hey, okay, I'm not gonna go back into the chat because I'm obviously like an hour behind. But if you are here and I've not said hello, just say hi quickly so I can say hi back, because I'd like to say hello to everybody. So that was the Shortwave Fest. Shortwave Festival is an event every year that's in Pennsylvania, and it is dedicated for everybody that loves radio in general. And it was nice to have that little Skype thing. Vienna. So really, really need to work out. It's mostly because there's a little personal thing that is happening that makes it difficult for me. That's why I'm not there. I worked hard to try to be there this year, but it was impossible finally. But I am working hard to be there for next year, though. So really hope that everybody enjoyed that live feed coming from Pennsylvania, and great people, and putting a face on all the people that you hear over the years, and that you know, it's just great. And every time I meet new people that I've heard their names, or You know, and we always have that same thing. We all have that, that weird way of putting a face on somebody depending on the voice they have, and then you meet the person and you're like, oh, look at that. That's not exactly how I thought you would look, but that's the fun thing. And once again, thanks Sheldon Harvey and Mickey Dalmage and all the people that talk to us, Thomas Witherspoon and so on. And I don't want to talk or mention too many names, because the last thing I want to do is not mention somebody that was there. Thanks everyone at the Winterfest that participated to the show today. Okay, Chrissy Freitas, nice to have you here. Says still have the copy of the worldwide listening guide that he signed at the that John signed at the fest a couple of years ago. Actually, I was looking at that book and it was like, okay, I got to buy one now. I got to get that book, so I'm gonna get one. So okay, let's check out everybody here. Bob T, nice to have you here from Northeast Ohio. Thank you very much. Matt says, I think I'll sign up next year. Let's try to make it a I promise you guys that I'll be there in exchange for a lot of you guys that might want to go, that maybe never went, and we're all going to meet up there next year. Let's make it a really big one next year. Let's try to work on that. Oh man. Terry Cook, KF7BQ in Western Montana. Nice to have you here. Hello, Vianney Arsenault. Nice to have you here. Liam is back. Old Radio Man. Nice to have you here from Northeast Tennessee. Manny CV. Nice to have you here. Zachary Owens. Nice to have you on board. CV Shortwave DX SM68481. Nice to have you here from West Sweden. Bobby Burgess. Nice to have you here. Catalan says, I'd like to see a teardown of the Sangean A909X with the PLL DSP ferret antenna and all the cool stuff. I want to check that out, but there's a website. I'm going to need to check it out. There's a website that has a lot of internal pictures of the 909X already. Glenn Zeckman, nice to have you here. Chrissy Freitas, you got to take care. I had a bad cold last week. I don't know if it's the flu or a cold, but I was like crazy sick for like 2 days. Now back to normal pretty much. Tom DXer says, it was interesting to put faces to some of the names I remember from my old NASWA days. That's I was saying, it's kind of interesting. And, we hear names all the time, but having faces that go with the names we hear all the time is always kind of cool. Brett Wayne, nice to have you here, my friend. KC2NXP. Bear, watching my live stream on his TV. Cool. Cool. Chrissy Freitas says, very comprehensive book. Love the inclusion of all the formats. I'm going to get mine. I need to get mine now. Dave Freeman, nice to have you on board from Monroe, New York. Matt Mbali says, that was very kind of Sheldon to give time, energy for a walk like that. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, he doesn't have to do it. And it's really, really nice to see that we, but Sheldon is, likes to promote all the stuff that's related to radio and everything. So one of the things that he really, I think, is working on here and doing this also at the same time is promoting it so that the maximum amount of people are there every year and that as many people as possible know that this exists, actually. Matt says, maybe we should book up near Model 6, just the regulars from these live shows. We'll have a big party, a big beer party. Lee Burkett, nice to have you on board, Lee. I've had a great week DXing on sporadic frequencies, amateur radio, and now using the old Tavion receiver, looking for the auction for more radios. Cool. BLF radio are the Radio Wow R108 and the C-Crane Skywave SSB the same size? And what about the sound quality on both? BLF radio. Let me get the let me get both of them. I'm gonna actually pick up the C-Crane, and now you guys can hear me, so you guys can see. I'm gonna pick up the C-Crane, and we're gonna pick up the Radio Wow. C-Crane. And it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. So good question here on the size, and well, they're exactly the same size. So this is the C-Crane Skywave SSB. Okay, here. Radio Wow. They're pretty much the same size. Look at that. If I put both together here, they are actually exactly the same size. Exactly the same size. So, of course, one is on. So they are exactly the same size. As for the audio, that's okay. That's an interesting. It's interesting because the Radio Wow has kind of a muffled, low bass audio, where the C-Crane is on the other scale. It's like more high-pitched audio. If I had to choose between, and they do have speakers that are the same size, but if I had to choose between the audio of the Radio Wow and the C-Crane, I choose the Radio Wow audio for its lower pitched, bassy sound. And also because of, well, it's not super strong, but maybe a little stronger than the C-Crane Skywave, honestly. But they are exactly the same size, but a lot of different little things. You know, I can already do a quick rundown and review live here of the C-Crane Skywave. So this thing is an AM, FM, shortwave, airband, and weather band or weather channel band for North America. This is obviously useful because, you know, you can go and listen to, for example, the weather. This is the local weather station here. This is in French from local Montreal weather station. But it's actually sensitive enough. It's getting the NOAA weather station off of Burlington, Vermont. So in a quick, you know, I will test it more. In a quick review, of the C-Crane Skywave SSB, it's a great performer. It is sensitive pretty much on every band that I've used. It's more sensitive on the air band if you like a portable radio that has air band, because it's kind of, you know, like the Radio Wow does that. It has the air band. This one is better on the air band than every other radio. The XH Data, the Radio Wow, the Degen D1106, I believe I have with airband. PL 680 has airband. This beats them all on the airband. And I think it means because there's the airband and there's that, you know, the channels for the weather. This thing is actually really good on those. It's better, and the airband scan is faster than any other radio that I've used. So for that use, it's actually better. I haven't tried it on medium wave yet, so I will not pronounce myself on medium wave. I tried it on shortwave. It's sensitive. It has very nice way of tuning a single sideband with a fine tune that resembles the one of the XH Data. That said, and I will need to test it more, the XH Data seems to be more sensitive than the C-Crane by a good enough margin that I can notice that the XH data actually beats the C crane. That said, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's actually still very good in reception. Yeah, probably the biggest drawback of the C crane Skywave SSB is the audio department. In the audio department, it is unfortunately sometimes a little, I got a lot of messages, people saying, because every time I talk about a radio, I give my opinion, and I give my opinion based on the way I listen. And the way I listen means that I don't use earbuds very often. I don't like to have earbuds listening to the radio. I like to have the radio's audio directly. That means that the audio on the C crane is kind of tough on the ears, and at times it's going to bring you like listening fatigue. For that reason, I would say it's the negative side of the C crane. Now, I got I don't know how many comments on the channels, people saying, "Well, I listen with the earbuds." The earbuds that come with the C crane, by the way, are the best earbuds I've ever had with a radio. You got to give them that. And instead of spending all that money in the earbuds, they should have spent money on a better speaker and audio. That would be what I got to say. But that said, the earbuds that are C crane branded earbuds on this radio, I got almost every portable comes with earbuds. Almost every time. I don't know. I got a box of earbuds because they're all crappy. Okay, the earbuds with every single radio I've ever had are crappy and not worth the time. I rather use my Galaxy phone's earbuds with a radio that has really a lot better sound, much better sound. But I gotta say, C crane earbuds are of higher quality of all the portable radios out there. So in the department of listening with earbuds, it's a big winner, and actually it gives really nice sound listening to FM stereo, for example, on FM radio. But so it's a nice radio. If you're looking for something really pocket size, look at this. It's really small. So imagine I got a short pocket here. And if you're looking for something that performs well, it has single sideband, separate upper lower sideband, NOAA weather channels and Environment Canada channels in Canada. Airband scan, that is the best of all. You could maybe think of the CC Skywave SSB by C crane. Nice radio. But that said, my first choice is still the XH Data, the 808. Beats the C crane. If I had today no radios and I had to choose between a C crane and an XH Data, and I'm not counting the price because the C crane is more expensive, I would still go to the XH Data, the 808. For me, that would be the winner still. It does come also with a reel-in antenna that clips, and good earbuds, like I said, and a little carrying pouch. So that's pretty much extending what you asked PLF Radio and kind of giving a little review here. Esteban, nice to have you here. The person in the Shortwave Festival was talking about some kind of radio handbook or something, isn't it? Yes. The let's go down. Somebody actually posted the link. Can anybody post a link to the Worldwide Listening Guide? And Matt actually gave the book here it is. I am actually going to purchase a copy after the show. So here you go. So I am posting the link once again. It's a guide. It's like he said, it's John Figliozzi. Well, a very well-known name in the shortwave hobby, by the way. The book is, like he said, multidimensional. It's not just shortwave. It's everything radio, podcasts, all the world of listening in general. So I'm buying one. He said it's available also on Amazon. So really, really nice. And it's nice to have people dedicated to the hobby, for sure. Hey, Sheldon, welcome back. And thank you so much once again for what you did to show us and have all of these people around. Really, really cool. Really, really cool to have what you have done. Thank you so much. Levy Nathan, nice to have you here from Israel. Kathy Atkins, nice to have you here. Ikadarius, my new Texan works great. Cool. What else do you have? How about the PL310ET? I don't know the size of the PL310ET. I would actually think it's probably the size of the PL380. If it is, the PL380, if it's the same size, is a little bigger than that. The PL380 is actually slightly bigger. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you here. Wish they had it in the warmer months. Afraid of traveling in the winter to Pennsylvania from Michigan. And PLF radio, the speaker, the speaker looks pretty much in the same size, absolutely. But the audio, because a speaker, even a small speaker, you can actually drive different frequencies, and the way that they are RadioWow R108 drives the audio, and the way that they drive it on the C-Crane doesn't give the same frequency response, honestly. Cattle Hub, a video presenting all the gear that you have would be nice. Yeah, maybe I need to do one of those. I haven't done one. I did one in the past. Maybe could be interesting to see that again. Any tone controls on either radio? No, the only tone control that the RadioWow and C-Crane will have is in the bandwidth, because when you put the maximum bandwidth of 6 kilohertz, the audio is, of course, there's more audio frequency response in the signal. So by changing the bandwidth, you can actually start with a wider range of frequency in the audio, but it's only by changing the bandwidth. There's no tone control on the radios themselves. Esteban, I currently have Philips AE3350 12-band world receiver. Cool. Kadarius, I like to call it the RadioWow. Yeah, it's easy to kind of, they should have called it the RadioWow. I don't know. Bro Weaver, the tiny speaker on the Skywave, I prefer larger speakers than audio. Is the audio tinny? I always, of course, you guys that watch my videos, you've seen the CC radio Shortwave, which is a big radio, like the size of the S450DL here. I mean, with a big speaker, it's obvious that the sound is better. And the thing is, I always found small radios with small speakers a little rougher on the edges on the audio, until, you know what? One radio that actually is an example that maybe others should follow. The Tivdio V115. The radio itself might be rather crappy, but the audio is surprising on that radio. The audio is bass, lots of bassy or a lot of bass, and it's surprising, and I think they should maybe follow. It's not because the speaker is small that it needs to be bad. Zachary Owens, my girlfriend Kathy also says hi, and we both enjoy your show and watch every week. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Hello, Kathy. Nice to have you here. Vince Perot, Radio Wow R108 looks a lot like XH Data D808. Is it the same thing? No, it's not. The XH Data has more, so the Radio Wow doesn't have single sideband or anything. The Radio Wow is really just AM on shortwave. And the XH Data has single sideband, separate upper lower sideband, stuff like that. So they are not the same radio. Sound is better on the D808, and also you know, the tuning. The tuning is actually it's more interesting to have a D808 with the SSB and everything. What else do we have? Gustavo Pinto. Radio Wow, poor copy of the C-Crane Skywave SSB. They're not the same radios. Radio Wow is a Radio Wow, and Skywave SSB is a Skywave SSB. They can't really be compared as being. They're not from the same company. They're two different radios, and that's mostly it. But the audio of the Radio Wow is definitely better than the one on the C-Crane. For one thing, and the Radio Wow does not have single sideband, so it's not a Skywave like that has a single sideband, nor does it have weather channels like the C-Crane. Redolva 65 from New York City. I say, have you here? Jan, is there a place in Montreal that I can go to buy a good radio, or I'm stuck to order online? The only place that I know that sells a shortwave radio right now is Addison Electronic. They have a Sangean ATS 606, I think, which is an okay radio, but you will have to buy online if you want something interesting, or look at the classifieds from time to time on like Kijiji and so on, Craigslist. I see some people selling radios, but it's getting more and more difficult. I know there's Radio Hofsepp, I think, that still exists on Park Avenue, but he sells mostly older radios. Unfortunately, places that sell radios are now a thing of the past. Adam Bali never developed a tolerance for earbuds. Light headphones are okay. Studio headphones for 30 minutes. Adam Bali says old. Max Estrong says we can carpool. So, you know, who knows? Maybe next year we'll have a super duper shortwave fest where we're going to all meet. Darius, have to be careful when using earbuds because the rubber part might go into the ear canal. Yeah. Bro Weaver, C-Crane calls a Skywave a travel radio. What exactly is defined as a travel radio? It's because of its size. It is really a mini compact. It's really in a so there are different sizes of portables out there, and definitely the reason they call this a travel radio is very simple. The size that it has, easy to bring along everywhere. So it's mainly because it's lightweight, great small size. You could put it in your bag, you know. If you travel with a little handbag rather than a big suitcase, you can drop this in your little handbag. You don't need to have a big, you know, suitcase. Where other bigger and heavier radios are not as good as travel radios. So this is really in the mini style portable receivers. This is the first thing that, you know, I read about it, so I wasn't surprised. But it's like the XH Data D808 when I got it. I don't know. I was expecting something bigger when you look at the pictures. But I got to say that, yes, for travel, this, you know, it has all the bells and whistles, single sideband, everything. For travel, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's because of the size. It's a small radio. It's really a small radio. PLF Radio says C-Crane Skywave SSB, nice looking radio. Yeah, it has its little quirks and quirks that are kind of interesting. Kathleen, C-Crane or Texan PL365? The problem with the Texan PL365 is the lack of a keypad entry that makes it tough to tune around the frequencies you want to listen to. And the PL365 or Countycom GP5 SSB is the same. As one flaw, if you leave the batteries in, they actually will drain really fast, even if you don't use it. So if you have a choice between the C-Crane and PL365, I'd probably then choose a C-Crane, even though it's more expensive. Ready, Paquet? Jill, do you still have the VHF YouTube channel? And if so, what is it called? If not, can you recommend a good one? My channel is, it's like here. Here I have official SWL channel. The VHF one is official VHF UHF channel. Lee, Jill, I'm thinking of buying a weather alert radio. Will I be able to receive weather alerts in the UK? No, it's a North America thing only. In Europe, weather radio does not exist, from what I know. It's really just for North America. It won't work in Europe. It's United States and Canada only. What else do we have? Dave Todd, nice to have you here. I wear hearing aids, so earbuds don't bother me, but I prefer over-ear earphones. What else do we have? Keegan has 11635. It's 5 out of 5. Robert Prosper, I need to buy a new laptop as my 7-year-old laptop with Windows 7 is now being rejected by places online I need to go. How much for one good enough to do SDR? You know what, Robert? You don't have to have that much of power for SDR. And you can get, you can get yourself something like an i5, Intel Core i5, and not that's fairly recent. You won't spend too much money, but you'll have something that runs well, that's powerful, and at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's for sure. If you got 16, even better. But it's surprising, I mean, I've been my SDR player SPDX is running on a 6-year-old Core i5 laptop that came with Windows 8 at the time, and which is now on Windows 10, and it works surprisingly well, and it's 6 years old, so it doesn't require that much of power to actually run an SDR. What else do we have? Gustavo Pinto. I would like to know if XH Data Radio will be still working in a couple of years. Look, I've been using them for many months now. The XH Data D808 has been my main portable, the go-to portable for many months. I mean, they are. You gotta look at one thing, Gustavo. The Radio R108 and the XH Data D808 are priced pretty much in the same range that Texan receivers that do the same thing are priced. So I've got my Texan PL600 that's 6 years old, 7 years old, more than that. Works great. Texan PL680 had a little glitch, but still works. PL380, 6, 7, 8 years old, still works, Thomas Niner, what I'm expecting from the new Ethon Elite satellite. For the price and for the type of radio it is, I hope it's a good performer. One of the biggest problems that I'm scared of with Ethon lately has been quality control problems on so many of their models. So, let's hope that it's well done. Ronald, I have a question. Would the Seeker SSB be considered and approved on the ultralight club list? For the size, it technically, I think it cannot, because I think, isn't the ultralight list not single sideband capable? The ultralight, I think, are not, you can't have a ultralight that has single sideband. So if that's the case, no, it can't. If it is accepted, because I would need to go read the rules again for the ultralights. Yes, it's an ultralight. This thing, so the Texan PL 380 is an ultralight in the list. And this is actually a little smaller than the PL 380. So yes, it would be an approved ultralight. The only thing I think about the list of ultralights, I'm not sure they allow single sideband. Benny Paquin, is that a porter or a stout in that glass? That is a stout. And I actually have, for those that know, I've got La Résolution beer coming up. 10% beer coming up. So cheers. Kid Area says a new real shortwave antenna just outside his window for FM and shortwave. Cool. Oh yeah, it has bandwidth control for sure. Keegan ordered an Eton executive satellite on Wednesday. Cool. What else do we have? David in Barcelona. Nice to have you on board from Spain. And no, because you missed the first part where we were live from the Shortwave Fest, so I couldn't use the regular microphone. We'll be back in the next show, because I know it doesn't give the same quality audio, that's for sure. What else do we have? Mark Stevens says, I have to have single sideband in my radio. It's 50% of my shortwave listening. Truly enjoy the Texan PL 880. Lots of great radios out there. Absolutely. PL 880 is a great radio. And, you know, when you are serious about shortwave, well, single sideband is something that you can't go without. I mean, when there's nothing interesting in the international broadcast band, I like to go and tune around utilities or amateur radio and stuff. Absolutely. You know, it's kind of nice. Look at the areas. Yeah, in the United States, but the question was about radios here in Montreal. It's kind of difficult, you know, kind of difficult to find local stores now in our cities where we live that sell radio. Nathan Valley, might be interesting to find out if attaching external speaker to that C-crane makes a huge difference. Of course, it kills the portability some. Yeah, but and a lot of the audio of the C-crane is not very strong. So one of the biggest problems also that might arise from that is that it's going to have a hard time really driving a speaker that is not at least an amplified speaker, if you want. Crittenden Turtle 4. Shortwave Fest sounds badass. It is for any shortwave listener and radio listener in general. VK2FBAJ. Hey, Brian. Nice to have you here. Loves his PL 880 also. What else do we have? Donald Hosmer hit 69 this year. Well, we're all getting older, eh? They've taught still use old set of Radio Shack Pro 100 communications headphones with the R71A. I used to have, are these the big ones? I used to have the mono communications headphones for listening with my DX100 because I was always in the living room, and because everybody wanted to watch TV, and that everybody was bothered by my radio, I actually put these big communications headphones. So, like I said, PLF radio, if so, an ultralight has definite rules. If single sideband is not allowed in an ultralight list, then it's not. But if it fits in the size that it is, absolutely, absolutely. What else do we have? Esteban, some interesting place to buy radios in Montreal. Yeah, no, not really. Does Universal deal with overseas customers? I know that it deals with Canadian customers. I've ordered from Universal Radio here in Canada without any problems. It's just the shipping charges are extremely high. But I don't know if they will deal with everybody overseas. That's another story. What else do we have? Kadarius bought a Sony RP transistor radio containing the AM/FM bands recently. Cool. Radios are radios. It's always fun. It's always fun. Catalin, can you receive FT8 Whisper with the C-Crane? Yeah, because it has the only requirement for receiving that would be to have a radio that has single sideband. So if you can tune upper sideband. Wendell Daniels, I would go with this. If you got the money because it's more expensive, I would go with the C-Crane rather than a PL365. Yonky Nose, due to lack of space, would the MLA30 antenna be worth getting to set up indoors? Well, you know what? If you have one antenna to try and you have no space, you can't put an antenna outdoors. Well, the MLA30 would probably be the best antenna you can actually use indoors, sorry. Tom Patterson, the Belka DSP Super Tiny All Mode radio works amazing. I'd like to see one in action. Liam, running Core i3, no problem. Core 5, big bucks. Core i5 isn't that much expensive than an i3, honestly. If you look at the deals around, you know, I've been a tech guy and I've seen Core i3, Core i5, Core i7. My choice is always on Core i5 because for bucks versus performance, it's in general a good deal. I've always found Core i3s sluggish in performance, but that said, if you're happy with a Core 3 and it works great, that's all that's important, honestly. It all depends what you know. I was a tech guy for a long time, and I'm a guy that, you know, I've got my laptop that I purchased is a Core i5, but it's like I paid $1,800 for it. An Acer Nitro 5 with SSD and 16 gigs of RAM and a dedicated, you know, gaming GPU because I want to play games. I paid a big amount for it. But if it wasn't because I want to have a really powerful laptop, especially for doing live shows, I would, you know, I would probably buy some. I would still buy an i5 because, you know, I'd rather have a last generation i5 that would probably be the same price as an i3 that's more modern than a more modern i3. But that's me, and you know, we all have a different take on what we want in power on computers. Robert Prosper says, I love my Conicom radio and still use it both AM, FM, but it is nearly useless on shortwave unless you want to make do with the scan feature. The problem is the tuning. If you're talking about a Conicom GP5 SSB, I mean, it's so tough to tune a frequency that you want to listen to. You know, the only times I use my county com right now is to use the ETM scan because it's pretty good to see what's out there. But honestly, if you're going to tell me, hey, you got to tune to 26,500, there's something there. Yeah, unless I want to do that in an hour from now, I'm going to take another radio. That's for sure. It's sad because the radio itself performs very well. It's nice. All it would need is a keypad to make it great, you know. Hey, J169, nice to have you here. Esteban got the Radio China Radio International in Spanish from his home. Yeah, some of their transmitters for Radio China is 500 kilowatts, absolutely. You can have Core i5 laptops for not that bad, Robert Prosper. Take a look and go around. Learn Nigel Lawrence, nice to have you on board. G0MEJ from Cumbria, Northwest England. For those, by the way, that have just joined, okay, just to say, the first hour of the show, we were live from Shortwave Festival in Pennsylvania, thanks to Sheldon Harvey. So if you've missed that, do watch the recorded show because you guys are going to be able to see the what happened. You guys are going to be able to see all that happened during the during that portion of the show. That was the first hour. Hey, we're at 177 viewers right now. That's not bad of a number. Our record is what, 207, something like that. 175, 176, not bad. Welcome everybody. G-Bone 1, nice to have you here, my friend. Like Brent says, refurbished laptops are not a bad idea. I mean, very often refurbished, the laptops never were used. Very often, because you notice, guys, when you buy a laptop or a computer, they have the restock fee when you actually send it back. More than half of the refurbished computers, honestly, people turned them on, didn't like it, and that's it. Nothing was wrong with it. They just didn't like it. Kevin J. Apollo, nice to have you here, my friend. Andy Coley, nice to have you on board. And Andy Coley, book. James DeCalais, do I use an external antenna with my XHDR D808? The only times I've used an external antenna, I plugged my MLA30 loop on it. It overloads a little bit. It does overload a little bit. Like almost all the portable receivers that I've actually put the MLA30 on. So, you know, portable radios, they have one thing that you got to be careful, is that they were meant to be used with the minimum amount of antenna. So that means they kind of hyped the sensitivity of the radio. They're easier to overload, that's for sure. So it overloads a little bit on the MLA30. Dave Todd will be 70 in May. Says, yes, the RS headphones, Radio Shack headphones are mono and big. Okay. The ones that I had when I was young. What else do we have? Robert Prosper says, might be one store in New York City that sells shortwave radio, and that's about it. Yeah, you know, I mean, if we would search, maybe there's somewhere that could be. But here, I know Edison Electronics because I see that radio all the time. But it's expensive, and when you, you know, I was looking at it one day, and somebody said, well, you don't buy it. And I said, look, it's nice, but it's $60 more expensive than Amazon sells it online. I don't want to spend $60 more. I mean, you know, it's kind of, I'm getting ripped off here. Kevin Jane Apollo, I think you would agree that if you were an airband listener, the Skywave SSB with earbuds would be an air show enthusiast dream radio. Performs as well as my Uniden 536 Canon. So what impressed me on the Skywave was the fast scan speed and the sensitivity of the airband. And I was actually very impressed by the sensitivity of the airband because I was hearing. So here we've got the airport that is about 30-ish, 35 kilometers away from me to the west. And that means, so I've got all the planes passing by here. I see them all the time. There's like a plane every 3 minutes and a half. But I hear the planes usually very well. It's a very difficult thing for me, 35 kilometers away, to, unless I use my outdoor antenna, I usually just with the telescopic don't hear or hear very weak tower. The tower barely comes in here. And I was surprised because when I actually stumbled upon one of the tower frequencies, 119.9, I was surprised that not only did I hear the plane, I actually heard the tower surprisingly well in my living room. So if you're looking for a package, a radio that has shortwave, that has single sideband and everything, but you're a airband listener, I would say that's the winner of all the radios that I have. And I have many radios that have airband here. None of them gets the airband like the Seacrane. That we're going to give that to Seacrane. I was impressed from the start. Of course, if you're a really big airband fan, you're better with a scanner radio that scans really fast and is very sensitive. But I mean, here, let's put it in the context of a radio that has shortwave on it, that does well what it does on shortwave, as single sideband. It's, you know, we don't have a lot of them. You know, you can't count on the ICOM ICR30. I'm not even sure the ICR30 by ICOM actually receives as well. You know, that's going to be a test. Let's see if on telescopic, the ICOM ICR30, that costs a lot more, receives as well as the Skywave SSB on airband. I know we could be really surprised here. Pretty crazy. Vince, getting a new house soon. I'm planning on making a super nice and high antenna setup. My question is, receive antenna all at the same place. Can it make some interference or any problems? You've got to respect some distance between the antennas. So depending on the frequency you're going to be listening, you got to be careful how distant they are from each other, because they do have interactions. So, but that distance isn't that big. So it's just a question of really, you know, trying out and understanding, depending on the frequency you're listening to, what you're going to do. Because there is interaction. There are interactions. I remember putting up my 102-inch whip, my CB 102-inch whip. It was maybe 3 feet away. Not even. Let me just think. 2 feet away from my mobile VHF UHF wideband. And my mobile VHF UHF wideband started acting weird. I had to actually move the 102-inch 3 or 4 feet further from the antenna for it to not be interacting or doing anything. But that depends on the frequency you're listening to, the type of antennas you'll be putting up. You can put up antennas fairly close to each other. You just need to think about it well. Robert Prosper says the decline of retail in New York City goes way beyond radios. Oh yeah, it's not just radios. There's a lot more of stuff that's just not there anymore. Yes, the C crane is almost not quite double, but almost double the price of the XH Data. That's why my first choice stays on the XH Data D808 still. It is not double as good as the XH Data. Like I said, shortwave on the XH Data seems to be slightly better than on the Skywave. I'll need to do more tests because they're incomplete, and I don't want to just say something to say something. But for the price paid, and you know, I get a lot of rant from people. I don't know why. It seems like when somebody buys a radio for a price, they get super offended that I will talk about that radio and give it a bad, you know, note or whatever. And what I've noticed since I started the C crane videos, I got a bunch of people just like coming into me and like, well, you know, I'm not sure that anything would be. I'm just going to tell you one thing, guys. This is a Chinese-made radio. I don't know what, but you guys, it might have C crane written on it. This thing is totally made in China, by the way, by the same company, apparently, that makes the XH Data. It's a Chinese radio, okay? Let's be very fair. Let's be very fair. Okay? That you got to understand. I'm tired of, well, you know, it's C crane branded and it must be better than. There's good, there's bad, but let's stop. Where I want to stop the comments and the things that people always do is stop right there when you start talking about, well, you know, that radio wow Chinese, yeah. I'm sorry, but in the radio sphere, when I look at shortwave radios, Texan, XH Data, all of that, they beat the crap out of a lot of manufacturers, okay? And I am very confident, honestly, that the radio hour and the XH Data are still going to be working in 10 years without any problems. We got to stop thinking that, well, you know, there's that hype of, no, everything made in China is crap. No, it's not. There's crap like everywhere else that there is crap. But what's good coming out of China is good. And we got to acknowledge that. So I got a lot of people this week saying, well, you're one in particular, you're ranting for nothing on that tiny speaker. No, I'm not. I'm outside. I don't want to have earbuds, and I might want to have good audio. Why not? So I got to stop ranting because it's a C crane. I'm not going to stop ranting because it's a C crane. Open your eyes. I want to have good audio off of a radio. That's it. That's it. Stop defending a brand. Stop defending a company. That tires me terribly. It's good. It's good. It's bad. It's bad. Let's say things like they are. I got tons of rant. Yes, I'm mad now right now. Tons of rant because I said the ICOM ICR30. I'm sorry for the price. ICOM is the crappiest portable radio I've seen. Just open your eyes. We got to say things like they are because people are going to buy the ICOM if I say it's good or it's not. Understand this. This channel says the truth about the things. Crap is crap. Good is good. That exists. That's it. And now I'll have a sip of beer. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I lost it here for a second. I'm tired of we got to find a something bad because it's made in China. This is good. It's an ICOM. No, I'm sorry. Yes, ICOM makes great stuff. Everybody will agree that the ICOM IC 7300 transceiver, one of the best things out there for the price versus performance. Absolutely. But if I had a representative of ICOM in my face, I would say, how can you bring out a crappy radio and expect people to pay $1,000 for it, like the ICOM SCR30? Who is the idiot behind the idea of that concept? Okay, that's all I got to say. Rufus, nice to have you here. The Deranged War Tomato. I like the Deranged War Tomato. What is the Deranged War Tomato? Nice to have you here. Hope you're enjoying your moments. Oh, God. I'm going to try to go a little faster here. I'm 10 minutes, 11 minutes behind the chat, guys. I'm here, okay? Mark Stevens. Man. Keegan, I set my Greningus 450 DLX Pilo Radio and Eton to UTC. That's the best way to actually have it. David Silva. Thanks, Joe, for sharing so much knowledge. I'm here for that. G-Bone says, my problems have been radios that have easily overload front. You know, that's why for a long time we wanted tabletops, good tabletop receivers. Take care, Vianney Arsenault. Toujours un plaisir. Lee says, I sometimes get asked questions on my webpage. Joe, I don't mind getting technical. A lot of my followers demand precise answers. Radio should be fun. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mark Stevens says, I watched hundreds of YouTube videos on shortwave radio units before his purchase. You know, you wanted to do a good choice. Vince, for the older problem with the MLA30 and portable shortwave, in my PL600, I have antenna game, the external local. Yeah, you can use that. Absolutely, absolutely. You can switch the gain. That's for sure. Donald Hosmer says, you do need activities, and shortwave listening DXing is a decent choice. Just wish we had more stations out like before the 1990. Yeah, it is very different. That's for sure. That's for sure. Okay. As it is here. Let's go down. I'm sure there's going to be somebody reacting to my Esteban, for listening to Airband, I use RTL0 dongle and FM directional antenna, 3-element pointing at the airport. They've taught find an old Radio Shack Pro 43 for air shows. It's amazing. I got one here, and I am happy to have the Pro 43. The Range War Tomato uses an Air Spy SDR for civil and military aircraft. And yes, the Pro 43 does the military airband. I purchased it actually for that at the time. I had some activity from the Plattsburgh Air Force Base in New York. Unfortunately, they all closed that down. For sure. What else do we have? What else do we have? G-Bone says, I talked to Mr. Crane for hours about the radio. He was a neat guy. Mike says, strong shortwave radio to radio compare are tricky. So many variables. I have been comparing ICOM 8600, Drake RAB, and Kenwood TS 850. Still go back and forth. Robert Prosper, I used to have a chain drugstores like every 2 blocks around me, literally, but in the last couple of years, big chains control them. Yeah, same here. Everything is being like, you know. What else can be done with a CB radio? Talk to someone. Let's revive CB and talk to someone. Who designs the C-Crane radios? U.S. engineers or Chinese? I'm pretty. Most of it is done in China. I understand one thing about C-Crane though. Max is strong. Don't stroke out on this. There's more extensive testing done on C-Crane. According to, I think it was Radio Jay Allen. He was talking about how the C-Crane testing goes. which, because, you know, when the Seeker and Skywave SSB came out, the first one that came out was crappy. It had tons of glitches. And their revisions, they did a revision that makes it better, like this one. This one is obviously the revised one because it's better. But pretty much everything is designed and in China. Solid rand there, Jill. But you know what? What I say is, we gotta understand one thing. We got to be happy with what we have, and if you've got a Skywave and you love it, it's cool, you know. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Preach, brother. Like everything, there's good stuff and there's bad stuff coming out of everywhere. But we got to stop. You know, over time we had, honestly, Matt, the ICOM ICR30 portable sucks big time. I'm sorry, sucks big time. I'm so sad to see how that thing works here. You know, I mean, manufacturing has changed over time, and you know, we all wish we would have, you know, of course it'd be fun for me to go out and have some Canadian branded shortwave radio that comes out of some manufacturing plant here in Canada. I'd be happy to own one. I'd be like, yeah, we all would be happy to own one that is made in our home country. That, no doubt about it. I think everybody has its own pride on its own country. It's totally normal. But we got to be careful about the rant that we give, depending on where it comes from and everything. I think some of the rant is probably due to the fact also that, you know, things are changing. It's obvious that the manufacturing in North America has been affected a lot by Asian manufacturing, and it has a lot to do with, you know, wages and everything. But you know, Canadian manufacturing and U.S. manufacturing can do crappy things too. Where a lot of the rant, you know, where a lot of the rant on Chinese crap comes from? Simply from the fact that people don't want to pay for what they buy. You know, when I was a tech guy, I would go and see everybody's crappy laptop. And I'm not joking. When I would sit down, start, you know, doing stuff, I was like, man, this is a crappy performing laptop. What are you going to do? You're going to say to the client, oh, wow, you got a crappy laptop, eh? No, you're going to say, okay, how we can bring this to a better level, or this doesn't have enough RAM, or, you know. But honestly, one of the things I would hear all the time is I would bring my Toshiba laptop that I paid, you know, like $1,200 at the time. And they will all say, wow, it's so fast. I look at what you're doing on your laptop, it's so fast. Yeah, because I didn't pay $300 for my laptop. I almost said it, and it stopped just before it went to the F word. I didn't pay $300 for my laptop. It shows. It's fast, eh? The thing is, that's the problem. People buy something, but don't want to pay for it. You know, I get it with the shortwave radios all the time. I don't know how many comments I get every week, and it's like, so can I have a radio with single sideband for like $40? No, you can't. It's as simple as that. The answer is no. 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 There's a minimum to pay for that. Okay. And it's like, you know, if there would be a Tivio V245 that has single sideband for $35, people would say, well, oh, it's $35. Why should I pay for a Texan that costs $100? Yeah, there is a thing called price versus performance. Absolutely. Even on shortwave radios, I might be down in the price of radios sometimes. You know why? Because one of the things I do understand here is that if we want to keep people in the hobby, yes, there's a subset of us that will buy. Example, when the Texan PL 990 comes out, if it's $300, you know what? I'm still going to buy one for the purpose of testing it here. But the problem is, if it's $300, how many people are going to be like, well, that's way too expensive, I'm going to pay for that. So what I try to do here is the just principle, meaning what can I talk about and how can I talk about a product with a certain price point for a certain performance. And that's where I put myself as the average shortwave listener when I test radios. So when I'm testing a C crane, I get it. You know, I get that message of, well, you should have, you know, hooked up a signal generator, and it's like, I don't care about your comment about that. Okay, I'm putting myself in the average Joe testing a radio. The average Joe that knows a little more about radios than the average Joe, but you know. So I will post my comments in this thing versus maybe some other things around it. I don't want to go into the cheapest thing around, but if somebody would come up with a killer shortwave radio for $50 that has single sideband, hey, you'd be the winner. That's where we are here. I want you to try to make your mind on one of the best radios that you could have, but also try to spend an okay amount of money, not all of it, not your paycheck into a radio. And it's crazy because you see the people's reaction with that. You see people's reaction. I've noticed that anybody that buys a radio that's expensive, nobody can be negative about it. Hey, I paid $2,000 for this. It's amazing. It's crap. Why can't you say it's crap? You pay $2,000 and you're ashamed now because you got a crappy radio for $2,000. Admit it. I mean, I don't want to be that harsh, but you got to put the price paid versus how it performs. I mean, the ICOM SCR30 has one big problem, is that, you know what, it could be amazing as a portable. But I think they're working. ICOM lost something on that radio. And you know what? It's like continuing the R20. So the R20, I got the R20. I was happy with my R20. But I never thought the R20 was the best radio ever. And honestly, when I would scan frequencies sometimes, I'd actually use one of my old Radio Shacks, like the Pro 43, rather than the R20. Because the R20 overloaded easily. And the R30 does. But the R30 is actually worse. What I would say to ICOM on the R30 is, you know what? What's sad is you could have sat down, reduced the amount of all the things that are useless, and take the money you spend on that to improve the radio side of it. And that's that. And I will say it very clearly here. Don't buy the ICOM SCR30. Don't. you're spending too much money on something that's not worth it, the money. That's it. And that is why probably ICOM never wanted to have a partnership with me. Okay, I need to open another beer here. And that's why I don't want partnerships. You know, everybody's saying, why don't you partner? Yes, I could. I've got enough views and enough of all of this to partner if I want. But you know what? If you make a crappy product, I am free to say, you made a crappy radio. And that's all. And this is the La Résolution. You guys remember that? 10% beer. This is the one that tastes like, here we go. Here we go. Trying not to, here we go. So you're watching the Shortwave show, the guy that rants about radios and says what he has to say about what's crappy and what's good. And if you're not happy with that, there's other channels that will actually talk about stuff that companies gave them. And because they gave them, they can't say the truth. I say the truth. Crappy, good, whatever. My opinion, absolutely, totally right. You might not share it. I'll respect yours. Cheers. Okay. Brent says, love your passion. You all need to speak our truth and tell it like it is. Absolutely. It's not, you know, even if I had paid with my own money for the ICOM ICR30, I would still say the same thing. You know? That's all. That's all. Ricardo Silva. Crittenden Turtle 4 says, crap is crap, good is good. Et voilà. Okay, I'm going to try to move on now because I'm really far behind the chat. I'm at what? 15, 16 minutes. Go a little faster here. Ricardo Silva, you say you lost it, you're on the spot. Cadarius, you got a GPX AM FM shortwave radio that has given to me for Christmas. I don't recommend people getting a radio. I don't recommend people getting anything from that company, honestly. It's crap. The 825 Devolt Silva is amazing radio. You know what, Robert Prosper? I was scared of that. I will not drink any Corona beer anymore because I'm afraid to be. I'm afraid to catch a coronavirus. Kimberly, nice to have you here. You just mildly ranted outwardly how I am feeling for a while about many different things. I am feeling mad about things going on right now. Yeah. Take care, PLF Radio. It's nice to have you here. You know, that's life. Canadian Prairie Shortwave, thank you. You saved me not to lose the money on ICOM R30. Don't. You're going to be really, really sad spending all that money there. You know what? There's the guy that has a blog, N9 WDL, Dave. He actually came back at me because I had ranted on the R30. And he actually came back at me saying, you know what? I totally agree with what you're saying. That thing isn't worth the price that it's sold for. He tested it. He didn't test it as much as I did. And he was like, you know what? That's not worth the money at all. Spend your money on something else. John Smith, nice to have you here from Nashville. Max Hestrong, cheap radios, cheap whiskey, and cheap beer. That sounds like a song. Cheap radios, cheap whiskey, and cheap beer. Oh, and that's not what he's saying. Robert Prosper says, it is spooky to think that we are now 30 years removed from 1990. Absolutely. Mark Stevens, Shell gives excellent advice on what works regardless of cost. Text and build quality and signal sensitivity on my PL880 does not disappoint. Audio excellent. Glad I discovered this channel. But I'm here to just, put in perspective what we, if you want to have a radio, what should you get? And here I'm trying to just make sure that everybody does a good choice. Yeah, some radios are cool. Absolutely. Some aren't great performers, but they're just cool and amazing. And you accept the performance versus the coolness of the device. That's an opinion, actually, It's David Silva, going to put the kids to bed and let them fall asleep while tuning some shortwave like usual. Maybe there'll be shortwave listeners because of that in the future. Oh yeah, quality control, absolutely. It's got to be consistent, that's for sure. Crittenden Total 4 says, to be honest, the fact that there's so many options is what makes this hobby science exciting. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Flitteromagnetic Bob. Absolutely. If you want to have a $2,000 radio, I mean, even that, the ICOM SCR30, you're spending $1,000 here in Canada. You're spending $1,000 on it. You want to have something that works. You want something that's good. Leonard Nigel Lawrence, is XH D808 is okay to connect to MLA30 antenna for aircraft? Well, the MLA30 does not cover VHF range, so it might not be the best. But that said, I'm actually getting some VHF stuff with the MLA30, so try it. But the MLA30's design is made for it to work into a specific range, which is like, long wave, medium wave, and short wave. So it does not cover the VHF air band, honestly. Mark Stevens, $150 been my threshold of pain in portable shortwave radio. Above that, I'm buying a transceiver. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. G-Bone, yeah, the RCI white papers, they were, I remember getting a few of them, including for my Kenwood R5000. The Range War Tomato has Kenwood R5000, ICOM RS70, Realistic DX200, Panasonic RF4900, Panasonic DR49, 2 AirSpy SDRs, and a Yaesu FR9600. That's a pretty nice setup. Hope you're having a lot of fun with that. Thanks, Strong. People just expect their toys to show up at one time at a decent price to work. I mean, one thing for sure is we work hard for our money, and it's normal that we want to pay the least amount for something that's decent, because I mean, we want to keep as much of that money in our pockets, honestly. Imagine Max Headstrong killed by ICOM assassins. The shortwave blog guy, Gilles, has been killed by ICOM assassins. Ricardo Silva says, stay away from partnerships. Oh, man. I got a price on my head. Ricardo Silva should be sponsored by a beer company instead. Yeah, you know what? That would be good. At least I'd be sponsored by something that, you know, a company that I can just say it's good, no good. You know what, Max Headstrong, I actually have a beer and wine channel that I never did anything really on. I wanted to do a beer and wine channel where I could talk about wine and beer and give my own personal opinion of that. Oh, man. What else do we have? What else do we have? David Provo, nice to have you here from Florida. Nice to have you on board. Bro Weaver, update on Paul the Cat. Is he losing weight? Not yet. I'm waiting. You know what? I'm going to give him a break, but I'm waiting for when the better, more beautiful weather, because now he doesn't go outside at all. But when he gets, we get into the more, warmer weather where he goes outside and goes play with his friends, print cats and skunks. I'm going to start trying to have him lose weight because he needs to. I weighed him this week. Actually, he took weight. It's 22 pounds. It's too much for a cat, and he's not going to live as old if I keep him really fat. So what I'm going to do is actually we'll have a 2-phase losing weight. I'll be losing weight at the same time as he is to try to make sure that he is happy. Oh, man. Max Strong says, we love you, Joel, just as you are. I hope. The basement, when I drove a semi, it was all about the Galaxy 99. Oh, man. The beauty of everything. Oh, I want to have Chinese food, Donald Hosmer. Take care, my friend. Take care. I mean, we're here to talk about what's good. Absolutely. We're here to talk about what's bad so people know that they shouldn't buy it. And I'm here to say the truth about whatever. Honestly, it's a little expensive, but the Skywave SSB isn't bad. I'm not going to say that it's too expensive for what it is. I'm going to say it's nice, Mark Stevens, any experience hearing Japan Radio NRD series? Yeah, I've somebody I knew for a while had a Japan Radio NRD 535, I believe, and I was actually quite amazed at the performance of these radios. And I always found the Japan radios so sexy, receivers. But they were more expensive. Than most radios. And, when I got my Kenwood R5000, it was the Japan Radio NRD 525, I think, which was a big radio back then. But it was... I didn't have it. Like, I was minimum wage at the time, and I remember that just spending $900 on the Kenwood R5000 is already a lot of money for me. And the JRC receivers were $1,000 more expensive. I didn't have the money for that, but they are beautiful, and they are some of the best performers out there. And I wouldn't be surprised that the JRC receivers today are still some of the best out there in performance. Esteban, newbie question on the channel. Why many of yours have the name in blue and a key aside? They are moderators. That's because they are moderators. So when somebody, all the crap that we had earlier, these are the fantastic people behind the scenes that are actually blocking everybody from being really, bad guys. Don't say that, Mike says strong. He says if you send Jill $100, you got a ranch. Yeah, no, that doesn't work that way. It's free. It's just, man. Only 100, says Gustavo Pinto. Ricardo Silva just went downstairs to pull another one. Cool, man. Yeah, the energy series are very, very nice. Honestly, really nice. Really nice. Hey, I'm pretty much a rant away, Jill. I'm now down in the, to the bottom of the chat. I am now live with the chat. I know, Max, that's wrong. Don't worry. I'm going to start the SDR here. Let's plug it in first. Where's the SDR play USB cable? I can remove this and put the SDR play USB cable somewhere. Ow, everything's falling down, including there in the back. Yes, I know, I pulled on the cable somewhere. Let's just put it back here. Let's just try to find the USB cable with the, okay, it's here. Let's plug it in without breaking anything. And let's just start the SDR. Oops, that's weird. Doesn't do that usually. It's like a new driver was installed. Yeah. Zero uno. So I'll put something on. I'll go pee because I need to pee now, and I still have my full beer. So we're going to continue to show a little bit. Play. I will put you guys through the soothing sounds of WWV while I go pee, and we'll be back in 2 seconds. While we do that, you know what? You guys could do something fantastic. You like the link we had with the Shortwave Fest today? How about a little donation? PayPal.me/Shortwave. PayPal donations at the Yahoo email that you see here. Or become a patron at patreon.com/radio and computers. I mean, you like what I do? You like that I can rant and say that ICOM ICR30 is crappy and you save money? Well, why not, why not just send a little something to say, hey, I didn't buy the radio because of you, so I save money. 11175. Okay, I'll put 11175 here, guys. Upper sideband. I am going to go pee. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Well, 1 minute and a half exactly. So enjoy if anything happens. And actually, it's week 8992 724. Anyways, back in a few seconds. And we are back from the dead. Oh, God. Okay. So you're watching the Shortwave show, of course, coming up from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Hope that you enjoy the show today, of course, as usual. Just quickly checking if anybody logged in from the email. Oh, this is so funny. Paul the cat drinking water from my beer bucket. Oh, God. I think he finds it cold. There was some ice on it. It's just so funny. Okay. What else do we have? Yeah, thanks to moderators, absolutely. Ro Weaver, reminder WBCQ Alan Wiener Worldwide tonight. Unfortunately, I haven't been hearing it for such a long time. I love listening to a number of stations, Deranged War Tomato. What else do we have? So, G-Bone 1 says he'd been having good luck with 49 meters and 60 meters lately. Oh, absolutely, Max Headstrong. That absolutely. I mean, the more we have different companies that do things like Seacrane, you know, the better it is. Better it is. Oh, man. Max Headstrong's only here for the on-the-air sign. I should put a 24-hour feed on the air side. Yes, here, look. No pee. Everything's clean. Smells like flowers or something. I don't know what. No, I think it's apple. Leonardo Lopez. Where are you located? Brent, anyone here have the RSPDX? Most people that purchase. So, Brent, two places you can get it. HRO in the US, Ham Radio Outlet is where I think a lot of US guys get it. But Radio World in Toronto, I think they have it. And if you have to buy it there, because if you buy it from HRO, you'll get some import fees. So, for example, I got it free, but it still cost me $70 in import fees to actually get it. Gives you an idea. Oh, really? RSPDX is out of stock at HRO? Wow. Good night, Bro Weaver. Red Hat Shortwave. Nice to have you here. Happy Friday. Larry Nigel Lawrence. If I was going to buy this XHZ D808 portable digital radio and connect my MLA30 to listen to shortwave, will it overload? You know, it overloads a little bit here, but not enough to be a problem. I think you probably would be very happy with the combination of both receivers. Dieter Johansson, is encryption possible? And what do you mean by that? I mean, there's encryption on shortwave signals, absolutely. A lot of digital signals are encrypted. Deer Forestry's got the RSPDX, bought it from the Colorado Ham Radio Outlet. So if you guys want to see the antennas of the Deranged War Tomato, And we wonder why the range war tomatoes need antennas. NHSGZ on QRZ.com or on YouTube. Oh, you got YouTube videos? I would guess. Yeah, pictures on QRZ.com also. Keegan, if Frasier or Cheers had a radio, maybe there would be sea cranes. Yeah, absolutely. That's possible. Michael Langer, nice to have you here. Max Strong says, moderators are Chill's bodyguards, protect him from ICOM and sea crane assassins. And well, I didn't say anything bad about sea crane, about that, except that it was a little expensive, but nothing really bad. Dave Todd, anyone upgrading to RSP2 Pro for the DX? Here's my personal 2 cents on this question. If you do medium wave and long wave DX, yes, it is. Improved dynamic range, high demand dynamic range, better performance below 2 megahertz for that, yes. If you just do shortwave and VHF, UHF, I don't think it's worth it to do the upgrade. For sure that, you know, when you compare a thing like an RSP1A, you got to understand, you know, RSP1A, and that's why I'm a very, very, you know, I get people saying, you know, well, you're very SDR play and they must be paying you to say things, and nope, they're not. Like I said earlier, I am in control of what I have to say on this channel, and I will always stay in control. And you got to put in perspective, an RSP1A is like what, 100 and some, you know, $110, $120. And you try to compare it on a Drake receiver that is, you know, a couple of $1,000. One thing for sure is you're testing 2 devices that are very different. The Drake receiver, definitely for the price paid, is at the max sensitivity that's possible. It is designed to perform as best as it can. But we always got to remember, you know, the price paid versus the performance that it gives. I mean, wow, it's totally nuts. If you had told me in the 80s when having a good radio meant you had to pay $500, $600, $700, that in the year 2020, you could have a radio that for, you know, 100, barely more than $100, would outperform the majority receivers that existed back then. I would have, I don't know, I would have said, yeah, you know, prices go up all the time. The best receivers in 2020, if they still exist and shortwave still exists, are going to be like $7,000 or whatever. No, we went, like computers, we went on a reverse scale. I mean, I remember buying my HP desktop computer in 1996, 1997 for the wonderful price of $2,750, which was the price if you wanted to have a decent computer. And look at what we have today for, you know, $700, $800. Crazy. Radios have gone the same way. I mean, we had that curve when radios became expensive and good radios were expensive. Even portable receivers cost a lot of money until we started having that curve going down. And we've got radios like the XH Data today that for $100 are surprising portables. We've got SDRs like the SDR Player SP1A that for barely 110, 120 bucks are just so amazing in performance. Plus, they give you a visual of everything around it. You know, I mean, we've got to put a price point versus performance, but dang, these things are amazing. These things are amazing. Really crazy. David Martin, greetings all. Dumb question. Do sunspots help only for daytime propagation or do they help nighttime? That's a good question. Both. And the reason why, for several little things. First of all, so when we listen to shortwave, of course, the frequencies change depending on you know, the time of day. We see a change. We see that, you know, a higher frequencies are, you know, not as good. But there's a thing that happens when, like, so for example, right now there's no sunspots. Although I was looking at spaceweather.com, there's a pair of sunspots that might actually be showing up in a couple of days, which will rise the solar flux. So when you have sunspots, you have, most of the time, you have a higher output of energy coming from the sun. That higher output of energy actually will transfer into a more dense layout and a better better propagation, even at higher frequencies on shortwave bands. Now, the thing is, when the sun sets, of course, less output and the ionosphere will reorganize. But when sunspots actually are there, when there's more activity, what happens is that even when the sun sets, even in the nighttime, the ionized layer might actually be stronger because of its daytime ionization pattern, first of all. And depending on what you're listening to and where it comes from, you will see a difference at nighttime also. So it's not just a question of daytime improvement, it's an overall improvement, including at the nighttime in propagation in general. Dear Forestry, bottom line, if you get the DX, you're buying about the best thing you can get next to much higher price SDRs. Absolutely. And I think SDR Play has one thing that is nice, is that they have found a performance versus price point that is really amazing. Kimberly, yes, you can I5. Absolutely. Darius will be listening to the medium wave band tonight on his new Texan radio. Cool. B, why all the quips and jokes about the coronavirus? I expected a lot more from you great people and moderators. Why not? You know, let's just, you got to laugh at it. There's too much tension and too much, there's way too much hype going on. I mean, you got to be careful. We got to look at it and we got to deal with it. It's not that it's a fun thing, but you know, let's relax a little bit. Take care, Darius. David in Barcelona, Spain, hooked up his XH data D808 to his MLA30 loop and didn't notice any overloading or saturation. The only saturation overloading I got was from what was it, WTWW, or what's called one of the US stations that was so strong that night that it overloaded. But in general times, it pretty much is going to be a good combination for sure. Dear Forestry, for me, having the metal box and BNC connector, yep, that is a difference. It has a metal box, that's for sure. John Kenny, could you set up a radio contact for 2 people across the Atlantic? We could. People are capable of this here. That's for sure. So that means two people could right now say, hey, let's try a transatlantic contact. It's up to you guys. Dear Forestry says, Joe originally sold me on the USDR Play radios, and he was dead right. They are killer. They are killer. Zachary Antle, what do you miss? And my mic is different because at the beginning of the show, we were an hour, a little more than an hour of the first, in the first hour of the show, we were at the Shortwave Fest in Pennsylvania. And so I had to set up differently to make sure everybody understands and listens to Sheldon that was live on Skype. That's why it's different for today. So if you guys have missed that at the beginning of the show, look for it. We were live thanks to Sheldon Harvey and Mickey Elmage to the Shortwave Festival in Pennsylvania. We had great guests on like Thomas Witherspoon and John Figliozzi and so many others that were like really, really nice to talk to. So if you have not seen that, don't forget to watch the first hour of the show. Very interesting. John Root from California, KJ6NNXX. Nice to have you here, John. You are totally forgiven, John, for your lateness. What else do we have? What else do we have? Rufus was going to get a 6 packs of Corona to build up antibodies. I like that. Man. Yeah, some HP computers back then had some really unique, very HP stuff, like Dell. Dell had this tendency. I don't know today. I haven't seen a Dell in a long time, but they had the tendency to have their own parts. Dear Forestry says, my most sensitive radio, I own Drake R8, and it's better than any other radio I own, but it is very expensive for me to buy. Some things in the past are better than some of the new stuff. So, they're nice radios, that's for sure. David Martin, irony. The intro for today's show was a political ad. I guess YouTube ad content is not something that can be controlled by channel owner or moderators. No, I don't have any controls over whatever ad was on the show. So I don't know. I have no idea. And it's very dependent on what country you are at, of course, at the same time. The only thing that I have here, because the only control I have on ads on YouTube is I have a control, yes, because there are categories. So I would be able to say, no ads that have a certain type. I don't know if there's a political category to the thing. All I know is I have ads that are, my check marks are everywhere, including ads that are for 18 years and older. So I don't know what that means. I never had anybody complain. But yeah, depending on where you are, it's possible. It's possible. I have a way out of the box question, says John Rook. Can I connect a preamp to receive amp of the Texan S2000? I know that the Texan S2000 is already very sensitive and prone to overloading, so I'm not sure it's a good idea. Current IT guy, nice to have you here. Yeah, solarham.net is a great place for any solar news. Right at Shortwave, picked up a pair of RadioWow R108s for $50 each on eBay last year. It's basically a knockoff of C-Crane, but the price is surprisingly capable. No SSB or SINGDA. Oh, they are pretty amazing. The RadioWow are amazing for the price. And yeah, the audio at $60. And I like the fact that there's all these filters. You can go down, you know, not just 6, and like 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. What else do we have? What else do we have? William Powell, is it 2000 your time? No, it's UTC. It's Universal Time. Here local, it's 6:07 p.m. Dear, how do you like the Grenadier behind you? The 350. I know it's the newer hopped up Texan, looks a lot like it. It drifts a little bit, but the S350 is a decent performer. I mean, it's a decent performer. It is an analog radio with frequency counter, so it drifts. It's not super precise, but the audio is good, and the radio itself, it's nice. It's nice. I like it. I like it better than the S450 up here. That is the most crappy thing that anybody could buy, I think, as a big radio, unfortunately, because of the quality control issues. I don't know how many people sent back their S450 because they didn't work out of the box. Just gives you an idea. And you know what? I tried to turn it on 2 weeks ago. This thing hasn't worked in 6 months. I barely used this radio. And it had probably been off for 6 months. I turned it on to get some shortwave signals the other day. It's deaf. Something's gone wrong. And I haven't done anything. I mean, the quality control in that radio is bad. Really bad. Pretty crazy. Well, you know what, Red Hot Shortwave? At the beginning, there was the first hour of SWLfest with Sheldon. We made a pact that the maximum amount of people, including me, next year are going to be there. The Range War Tomato. How many older shortwave radio sellers still out there? I bought my Kenwood R5000 from Universal Radio back in the 80s. They're still around. I have some great memories of my Kenwood R5000. I owned one from 1990 to 2011. That's when I purchased the ICOM ICR 8500 bright in the back of this pink radio. You guys see the pink radio? I don't know if you guys see the pink radio. Yes, you guys see part of the pink radio. This is an all-American 5-tube receiver. Look at that. Let's open the back. Let's open the back and see what it looks like. I liked radios back at the time. No screws. Let's just, you know. Here we go. Look at that. All-American 5-tube radios. Pretty amazing. Look at that. They actually put the audio transformer direct on the speaker. Crazy. And for a little history on this radio, there was a station here in Montreal called CKVL, was on 850 kilohertz. And the woman I purchased, so you see it's a little beaten and battered, but the woman I purchased this from for the fantastic price of $3 had won this radio in a contest that CKVL 850 had done at the time. It's a Fleetwood, made in Canada. Yeah, it existed back then. And she had won that in a contest. And I got it for $3. And it still works, by the way. Works fine. So, you know, crazy things. Hey, 73's Laird Nigel Lawrence from West England. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Rob Webster, nice to have you here from the UK. What else do we have? Yeah, I mean, you know what, Red Hot Shortwave thing is that remember one thing: channels like this and my revenue stream from YouTube comes from ads. You also got to remember that. Okay, Red Hot Shortwave. I mean, I understand why people use ad blocks, but if all of you used ad blocks, I don't think I'd be here doing this show. I need to do other stuff and work. Remember that guys that do content need to be paid somehow, and this is my job. And so always remember that if you like the content of people out there, remember that there needs to be a way to pay these people, and ads are one of those ways. I totally agree with one thing. I agree that some websites are way going overboard totally on ads. But remember that this is what pays me. And if I have no donations and no ad revenue, this would not exist. I can tell you that. Jeff Barrett, let's have you here. Max Headstrong, shimmering nature of the ionosphere makes radio to radio compare very difficult. Yeah, well, in laboratories, Max Headstrong, what they do is they use signal generators so that they don't have that, you know, that shimmering nature of radio signals. They always have a very straight, specific. Matt Hallows, SDR Play versus AirSpy. I can't express my own opinion on that because I don't own an AirSpy. If AirSpy wants to, or if they want to me to test one and give my honest opinion, you can send one to me. Maybe I should get one. Maybe I should check out to purchase one and compare for sure, you know. Max Strong says, my bunch is that our current $150 portable rival, if not exceed many of the classic tabletop receivers. You know what? I'll give my opinion on that. So I've owned a Kenwood R5000. I own a ICOM SCRD 500. These are $1,000 receivers, obviously. I've owned a lot of portables over time. I've owned portables from the 80s, 90s. One of the first observations I would give out is that portables, good portables of today, some of the Texan receivers, like Sage Data D808, and so on, they outperform the majority of portables from the 80s and 90s. Not necessarily all of them. Let's be careful here. Now, if I use my tabletop ICOM SCRD 500, where they actually, or even the Kenwood R5000 when I had them, where they actually are very good is in certain cases where there's a lot of strong signals and they never overload on anything, and there's a little edge to them that a lot of tabletops don't have. A lot of portables don't have. That said, and I said it in the past, I have a hard time suggesting to anybody to buy a tabletop. You know, I see a lot of people, I don't own one, so I can't, you know, I'll be fair when I say I can't say. I see a lot of you have an Icom ICR 8600 tabletop. I mean, here in Canada, that's a $3,000 radio. And looks interesting. But you know what? Apart from some of the bells and whistles and some of the digital modes that they have, I have a hard time telling anybody. You know, if somebody telling me, oh, what should I buy? Get an SDR player or a SPDX. You're going to have a great SDR on your screen. And you know what? I have a hard time saying you should spend $3,000 on a radio. I used to be in that range. I used to be the guy that would tell you, buy that big gun tabletop. If you have the money, you're going to get some amazing performance. You know, tabletops, performance, and general lower priced radio performance. So that's what it looked like in the 80s, in the 90s, in the early 2000s. I think it's like here in the 2020 range. We've got to a point where a lot of those tabletops don't measure up for the price paid. Even though they're cool, and even though they're really nice looking, even though they, you know, I'd love to own an 8600. I mean, that's a cool radio. But honestly, even if I had the money tomorrow, I think I'd buy a bunch of good portables rather than a $3,000 Icom on reception. Thomas, nice to have you here from Hungary. But you know. David, keep in mind the radios like SH Data, ReadyWow, and so on, the bandwidths are displayed refers to the audio. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's not like having the RF or IF filters. Jeff Barrett picked up a Sony ICF 2010, awesome radio. It's one of the best out there. For that shortwave, good. I'll see you next year. Ha ha ha. The Range War Tomato, long live monitoring times, and Bob Grove. Yep. The Eddie SX, the Grundig S450 DLX, the bigger cousin of the S350 here, which is an Ethon branded, but same. Oh, man. Did Bob Grove own Guilford Electronics? Bob Grove, so they had, was it Guilford Electronics that he owned? Bob Grove, Guilford Electronics. So Bob Grove. That's what I'm wondering. I know you had, there was a magazine and was everything. There was like, I think it is. I think it's all linked. Robert Glazer, nice to have you on board, my friend. Oh yeah, I know, Jeff Barrett. These are the zapper radios. All of these old radios are you got to be careful. I know the chassis is hot when you turn it on the wrong side. The year forestry. If you had to choose 3 radios to keep from your entire collection, including tabletop, which ones would you choose? Two are easy. I would keep my ICOM ICR 8500. I would keep my SDR Play RSPDX. And I would keep my Grundig G5. So ICOM, ICR 8500, SDR Play RSPDX, and Grundig G5. That would be the ones I would choose. Well, that's good, Redhead. You know, I mean, if you're to have ad blockers and stuff, if you donate, perfect. You got to, you know, the problem with that is that a lot of people don't understand the difference, and a lot of people don't understand that a lot of people live off of ads. It's mostly what I mean when I say that, you know. Totally understand, Red Hat Shortwave. I totally understand. David Martin, that pink radio is the same color shade as the original bathroom towel of my grandparents from the 50s. Because it comes from that era. It was that popular pink from the time. Oh, good. Max says strong. 8600 is not worth 3K. Yeah. Joe Sombraniuels, nice to have you here, my friend from Brazil. Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't mean you don't like it. And I mean, I haven't used one, so I'm not giving an opinion of does it perform well or not, or I don't know. I've heard a lot of good things, but you know, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, you know, for a radio. I hope D-Star works better than the ICOM ICR30 at least. Okay, I got another rant, another shot at the R30 now. Man. David loves the audio of the ICR 8500, much fuller and warmer than my SC 7100. Interesting. Matt says, hello, I'm back for real this time. Dear Forestry, technology has come far, but all good old radio stations quit broadcasting. Too bad. Yeah, but there's still some stuff to listen to, and we got to concentrate on what we have rather than what's gone. And that's very important. Oh, Grove Enterprises. Yeah, G. Lee. Thank you. It was not Guilford. I knew it was not Guilford. It was Grove Enterprises. You could buy stuff there. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for giving us the correct answer. You know, I'd like to play around with the ICOM 8600 and see, you know, give it what it's, you know, give it a run and give it its chance for sure. And here it's, you know, my personal opinion, but no, you know, I don't know. Never tried one. Well, I did try one. I tried one at the barbecue, but you know. William Moser, let's have you here. William Powell, PL880, absolutely. It's a great portable. Hush Whisper, do you use battery backups? Well, I got so many batteries here that all the portables would run. I've got 2 lead acid batteries for the tabletops, so I can run them like the Icom ICR8500. You know, Deranged Warrior Tomato, that's the problem. A lot of old radios are having a price hike that's not, honestly, it shouldn't be. A lot of the old radios, it's not just shortwave, not just Sony. A lot of old portables and old radios are getting these really big price hikes. Honestly, it's not worth it. Honestly, at all. And I tell you one thing, no portable radios from 30, 40 years ago should actually have a price that high. They're not worth it, that amount. You know, they get a hype because some people are there and they are ready to buy them because they don't exist anymore, you know. The forestry project, portable MLA30 antenna, working on it now, uses battery power for T-bias. You know, that's why I've got a spare MLA30. I'll be using a battery pack that I use for my cell phone to power it, and I'll be doing some portable SDR this summer. My RSPDX, my new laptop, we're going to go to Perry Island together. That sounds like a sleazy date. I got an MLA30 and a new laptop. We'll be going to Perry Island together and have fun. Oh, man. Yeah. Let's be fair. Some of them are rather rare and you know, there's not a lot of them existing. But honestly, 6925 Pirates, I don't hear anything right now. But you know, Caesar, have future for shortwave radio? Absolutely. Absolutely. In 50 years, it's still going to be there. Take care, Lee. Ricardo Silva. There's no vintage radios, just old radios. Yep. And I totally agree with that. Vintage does not exist. Vintage is something invented and hyped by people. It's, you know, if somebody would say, well, you know what, there were only 6 of these in the past, and I'm selling at $1,000 a piece, I would say, well, you'll keep your radio. I'm not paying $1,000 for something that isn't worth it anything. And it's an old junk with a ugly pink plastic, or bakelite they call it, and it has 5 tubes from 1950. It's not worth it. We got to stop hyping like that. You know, I mean, I see, you know, that junk Grundig S450 DLX here. I've seen it on Amazon for like $400. Man, if you buy that for $400 because nobody makes it anymore, you got screwed. You got totally screwed. Take care, Hush Whisper. Oh, absolutely. Part of part of it is maybe that Max Estron. I mean, we the nostalgia from our past would actually, you know, is making us buy things sometimes at a price that's not worth it, you know. William Powell, please. Sentient 990, you mean 909X versus PL 880? Get a PL 880. 909X is very nice and very beautiful, but it's deaf on its telescopic, which is not the case of the PL 880. It's a very nice radio. It go by PL 880. There's not even any no discussion on it. I mean, you know, the 909X is beautiful, but I would not pay anywhere above 200 to 300 for a Collins RN390. Remember, these are old radios. Stop giving them value that they don't have. It's an old radio. And I'm not paying for old radios. I like old radios. I'd like to have a, you know, Crafters. I'd like to have so many of these older radios here. I'm not going to pay for that. That's for sure. You get it for, you know, I have my limits. If I get a really nice big Crafters for $50, no problem. $50, I'll give it. Maybe 100. You won't get more than that. You got a Collins R390 in my face, and you got to say, hey, it's $750. Keep it. $750 for an old radio? I'll have tons of newer radios that perform better than it. I mean, I understand they're very beautiful. They're really cool. I'll get cool new radios and a bunch of them for $750. That's what I mean. And I think we're all different in here. Some of us are prepared to pay more for a certain thing than others. I'm not paying $2,000 or $1,000 for a Collins R390. Forget it. Never, 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 never. Yeah, I know the CRF V21 or whatever Sony weird thing, ferromagnetic Bob. I know it's crazy the prices they go for. But I'm, you know, and you got to be careful, eh? When you buy a radio, one of the arguments of a lot of people is, oh, have you seen the prices they go on eBay? Wait. The prices advertised on eBay and the sold ones ain't the same. Oh, I saw the Kenwood last night for like, you know, $1,200 used. Yeah, nobody bought it. It's a price on a website. Nobody bought the radio. Stop thinking that the eBay price is what it's worth. It's not. Just nobody's buying it. Have you noticed he didn't sell it? Stop thinking that. And no old radio is worth money. No old radio. It's an old radio from a past era that doesn't perform as well most of the time as modern radios. It just looks cool. I agree. It really is cool when you look at it. It's really something nice if you own one. But I'm sorry, it is not worth any amount of money more than a very basic amount. Something that's 60 years old is an old piece of technology of 60 years ago. Not worth it and not even performing up to par with something today. It just looks sexy, and sometimes that's what makes it sell. My personal opinion, once again, that's all. You know. Take care of that, Shortwave. Oh, for sure. Crap radios should go for cheap, even the old ones. That's for sure. You know. So I'm gonna have tons of assassins tonight. ICOMS, Collins 390, all of that, old time assassins. But they're really, really sexy radios. I mean, they are beautiful. They are fun. It'd be fun. I'd love to own one, honestly. You know. Yvonne, 4045. Usually that is, so there's 4545. 4045. Around that frequency range, Yvonne, you have two types of comms. I'm hearing them right now talking. So 4055 is either one of two things. It's either the Mars military or the Civil Air Patrol of the United States. Around 4020 up to 4100 roughly. There are at this time of night 2300, 000, a lot of Civil Air Patrol and Mars military nets. So it's one of those that you're hearing, Yvonne. I hear it. I hear talking right now. You know, I'm looking at this American 5, and this comes from, the story behind this comes from a old lady. She was you know, I don't know, 80 years old. And there was a church downtown that had a, they would sell stuff every Thursdays. And my brother, that always thought that I had my, you know, hobby of noise listening, knew that I'd like old radios. And he said, hey, you know what? There's this church near where I work on Thursdays. There's this old lady, and she has a lot of old radios. You should go and see that. I think it'd be interesting. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, like, you know, Thursday evening, I go there and I go see, and I find an old lady with the old radios. But you know, what the problem with this is, so I've got a flea market near where I live, and they sell things like this for like, you know, $100. And I remember telling one of the guys at the flea market, this is not worth $100. I'll give you 20 if you want, but no more. And I mean, I get blasted all the time. Like, well, these are vintage receivers. They're not. They're junk American 5s that were the junkiest radios existed at the time. So anyways, the old lady, I'm expecting the old lady to tell me, it's like, you know, these are $80 each. No. She has, the day I went there, there was 3 of them. This one and 2 that I have here not far. And she looks at me, she says, for you, $3. $3 each. I'm like, okay. At $3, I remember I didn't care if they worked or not. At $3, okay, $9 for 3 radios. I'm taking the radios home. They work, they don't work, I don't care. You know what? Some didn't, some did. But at $3, who cares? I got an old radio from 1960s or something, you know? But she was there like a couple of months. And from what I heard, she had died. That's why she wasn't there anymore. Every week, she had at least one radio. And I remember she looked at me and she would always say, she was Ukrainian or something. And she would say, oh, you the radio guy. Look, new radio today, new radio. For you, $2. It's like, man, you could have asked 5 and I would have given you 5, even maybe 10. But she was like, you know, oh, I like you, $2. Okay, no problem. I'll get it for $2. It was just funny. But I mean, we all have a price for a radio. But come on, you know, I see stuff sometimes. Come on. They're just funny. But there are some beautiful stuff out there, that's for sure. And you know, we all have our threshold or something we would pay for a certain amount. But I firmly believe in one rule: no device should be worth more than its original purchase price. And you got to be careful. Lots of stuff not worth it. Sometimes we're just drawn, or we're ready to pay something because of you know, personal feelings. William Powell, well, single sideband is good in a PL880 in general, absolutely. Oh yeah, that's for sure, especially on eBay. Not tested, yeah, not working. Everybody can test a radio. You just turn it on. Do you receive something somewhere? Doesn't work. Not tested. Yeah, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Forget it. I paid $1,200 for my Drake R8B used in 2012. But they are still highly priced. Even today, the Drakes are highly priced. I would not buy that. But you know, if you're, what I would say is, whatever happened and whatever you did, you're happy with it. That's all the basic of it. Okay. You got it. You're happy. It's okay. It's okay. You know, like I said, Rufus, AA5s for $2 or $3, perfect. 100, come on. But you know what? You know, somebody asked me the other day, you own a Kenwood R5000. What about if somebody offers you a Kenwood R5000 for $400? Would you pay that? And I honestly asked myself, would I pay that? Take care, Gustavo Pinto. And I realized that part of my maybe I wanted to pay $400 for it was part of the fact that I own one for 20 years. There's a sentimental value mixed in with my coolness of a Kenwood R5000. But honestly, in reality, more than $200 to $300 for a Kenwood R5000 is too much money. Too much money. It's an analog technology of the 1980s. That's all I got to say. Let's think rationally and stop thinking with our heart, you know? It's just that. You know, Nick Carrigan, we all did things like that. I purchased stuff. I remember, give you an ideas. I remember paying, in the times of bulletin board systems, I remember paying a 56K modem like $300 from US Robotics. And I think about it today, I'm like, seriously, I paid $300 for a modem because I wanted the fastest technology at the time. But you look at it today, I'm like, really? They got me paying that amount for that ridiculous thing that cost $10 to create or something, you know? Crazy things. I don't know. The Deranged War Tomato, R5400, yes, with a VHF UHF converter. Even that, I wouldn't be sure. Even that, I wouldn't be sure. Rufus, I do have many American 5s, most likely free and cheap. But people think they are worth is insane. Absolutely. I mean, they were you know, let's not forget this. The All-American 5s were the cheapest tube radios. They were the junk of the 60s. You know, I'm surprised not a lot of people got, like, you know, were dead or electrocuted because of the All-American 5s being always, like, you know, high and always hot when they were plugged in. I'm surprised not that many people died with all these radios. It's crazy. Oh, man. Oh, it does. It does. I think anybody, dear forestry, that dialed into BBSs, I still have the sound of my 300 baud modem, the first ever modem that connected to a BBS with my Commodore computer of 1987, something like that. It's a sound you'll never forget. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh, man. So, hey, everybody. Did you enjoy today's show? If you did, don't forget that you can send me a little something, paypal.me/shortwave. If you like what I do, please do think of a donation. I'm here all the time, spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of everything just to please you and be here all the time. Patreon.com/radio and computers is another way. And if you enjoyed today's show, enjoy the fact that we had a live feed, Skype feed from Winterfest in Pennsylvania, why not think a little something to help me out? And really hope everybody enjoyed today's show. I will now go and cook some food because I'm hungry, and I hope you enjoyed the show today. It was a lot of fun to do. It was a lot of fun to see if you haven't done so already, go back in the recorded show when it's online to see the first hour where we were at Winterfest in Pennsylvania with Sheldon Harvey. And don't forget, this Sunday, I'm all alone in the International Radio Report at 15:30 UT. Okay? So take care, my friends. Stay safe. And hope you enjoy what we do here today. So take care, my friends. Don't forget, QSL cards. Yes, absolutely. If you guys have suggestions, by the way, of subjects, anything we want to talk about, please do. I'm happy to talk about everything. And if I get quarantined, I'll do 24 hours of quarantined. This is the lockdown show for the coronavirus. I'm quarantined, and I will do 24 hours today of radio listening. At least, you know what? Quarantine with radios, I'll be able to listen to the world anyways. Stay safe, my friend. And always nice to have you on board, my friends. So, bye, my friends. See you next time on the live Shortwave radio show. Facebook group, official SWL channel. Join. A lot of fun there. Great people, too.